Hi. Sorry, I totally it just started. I didn't mean to do that. But I need like an intro or something because it's always really awkward at the beginning. But thank you guys both for being here. I think hopefully people remember Ivy Rose, but if you want to like introduce yourself a little bit.
My name is Ivy. I was not prepared to say anything else. I'm not sure what to say. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure I've ever had to introduce myself anywhere. I just usually get on and start rambling.
Maybe I should introduce you, but I don't really know what to say either. So we're just gonna give it to Mark, and he can go.
All right.
Pretty sure everybody knows who I am, so glad to be here. I respect both of you very much, and looking forward to hopefully my final conversation on this. But I've said that twice now, so who knows?
It's never the final one.
I know.
Well, I mean, I think it's a little premature to say final when there hasn't even been sentencing and like, more stuff's going to come out. So I don't know.
More stuff like what?
Just like the information from trial, like the interview, like all that stuff will come out and then people will want to talk about that,
Maybe. I just think that for a while now, it's kind of just gotten to the point where people are talking in circles. And I think that a lot of people were hopeful that the trial was going to bring forth a lot of new information. And while a little bit was brought forth, nobody's really focusing on the new information and just rehashing all the old stuff and spinning it one way or the other. For example, like one of the things that came out that was new that I thought was super interesting was when Alan actually called into the tip line, which was on the 16th, and he didn't meet with Doolin until the 18th. And I find that really interesting, and I haven't really heard anybody talk about it.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Dan just takes over. I made you admit so you could end the stream, not so you could take over.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt. You can kick me off the thing. I'm not I just was trying to click the things. No, it's all screwed up because it's on my phone.
You want me to kick you out?
Bring in the chromosomal balance. It's okay. But anyway, what I was saying is calling in, with him being not actually interviewed in an official capacity until the 18th. That's super interesting because that's after the photograph was plastered everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody was under the assumption that he had came forward prior to that. And the fact that it was after that, that's just a really interesting dynamic that I don't think really anybody's honed in on. And it's just like little bits and pieces like that were introduced and came out at trial, but nobody wants to focus on the new information. They just still want to go back and forth about the information that's already been hashed out ad nauseum, or just bring up the lack of information. And it's gotten to a point where it's just, I've rolled my eyes in the back of my head so many times I can barely see.
Well, like, what do you think is the significance of like that?
Yeah.
Of him? I really don't know. I mean, I truly believe that he is the person in the photograph. And I think that the way that it was worded when they were first looking for the person in the photograph, they said that they just wanted to talk to him and see what he saw. But the fact that, that he didn't identify himself as the person in the photograph, that's interesting. And the fact that he had the balls to still come forward after his picture was plastered everywhere. But also, too, the way that, and again, I'm getting everything secondhand, third hand, fourth hand, because I wasn't there. They said that he had called in and Doolin couldn't meet with him until the 18th. So maybe he was like massively regretting it, because maybe he did contact him before he saw that the picture had been plastered everywhere, but then realized that he couldn't back out. But it was also super interesting that he refused to meet him at the police station, that he refused to meet him at his house, and they settled on a grocery store.
Well, did he like refuse to meet him there, or like he just like
no, it's refusal. How strong, I don't know, but he said no, so that's a refusal.
That's a part that not everybody, obviously, but a lot of people talk about that's weird, but to me, it's not. Like, I would never have a cop come in my house, ever. I don't care how innocent I am, mainly because it's dirty, not because I'm guilty.
I can agree with you on maybe the cop not come, but like if I'm truly trying to help an investigation and I'm truly trying to, help solve this case, like I wouldn't have a problem going into the police station.
That's true. When did the picture come out? I was trying to find that just now. Like, was it the 15th? Oh, I wonder what time of day he called.
I think that makes a difference too, because it wasn't until the evening. I think it was like the 5 o'clock news was the first time. So he could have called before the picture was plastered everywhere. And then he just didn't have a choice because Doolin was on vacation and he couldn't meet with them. But then at the same time, it wasn't clear who he called, like who picked up the phone when he answered, if it was Doolin or if it was someone else. And Doolin was just the person who happened to set up the meeting.
But Doolin would have seen the picture, and like when he went to go see Richard Allen, it wasn't like he was like, "Oh, this guy looks like him."
Maybe not. But I also thought his reasoning for calling in was interesting when he said that it's like, okay, well, why did you come forward in the first place? Oh, because my wife told me that they were looking for people, with information. Not, hey, I was there and I wanted to help out. He passes that along to his wife. So it's like, okay, so you're saying if your wife wouldn't have said anything, you never would have come forward at all?
I mean, that's like putting some assumptions on the whole thing, I think.
Strange answer. Not, I was there and I wanted to tell investigators what I saw. It was, well, my wife said that they were looking for people with information. I thought that was very strange.
I feel like that matches the dependent personality thing.
Definitely.
But also, if you wanted to like look at it from the other, like from the, I hate using the phrases like pro prosecution and pro defense, but if you want to look at it from like a pro prosecution point of view, you could say that he was like saying something like that so that he didn't have to put the I in it, which I assume is what you were getting at. Like he didn't have to say, I wanted to tell you. It was like, well, she told me. So it was kind of a third party thing.
But like maybe his wife was just like watching the news and like she came in and was like, hey, like you should go and call like the police. And so he just like answered what actually happened. And he was like,
I would just think though that would just be like a natural thought to somebody who didn't have anything to hide, that if they were there, that they would be forthcoming with the information, not having to be nudged by somebody else.
It was super early on though. So it depends on like when you heard about it and what all like information was available that first day, because that just would have been the day after they were found.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days after they were found.
Well,
you would think that info would be out by then.
Yeah, and I would think that it would just be, especially in the town itself, it would just be a really, in a town where nothing happens and then this happens, you would think that it would be, at the forefront of everybody's mind.
Well, I mean, the other witness didn't come forward for like 3 weeks or something. Like it seemed like all their witnesses took a while.
I've commented on that about how strange I find that.
She didn't come forward till like June, didn't she?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Oh, I thought it was for longer.
Maybe
I think June is when they had this one chick come in for the sketch or something. Maybe the second sketch. I don't know.
But yeah, that was one of the new things that I picked up on. There was a lot of stuff that I thought was going to be spoken about that wasn't mentioned, and I definitely feel like that the way that they laid it out before closing arguments wasn't linear, was hard to follow, and just seemed to jump around a lot. And I didn't think that they did the best job, but he nailed it in closing, and he nailed it with his rebuttal. And I think when it comes down to it, that they just had such an airtight timeline, and by Allen's own admissions, there wasn't any reasonable doubt to believe that it was there. Sure, there's some doubt, but reasonable doubt that could have been somebody else that could fit into that timeline. I think that's what did it.
What do you think? There wasn't reasonable doubt, or that none of that doubt was allowed into the courtroom?
Well, what doubt wasn't allowed into the courtroom?
Funny you should mention that. If you hold on 1 second, I'll get the link to some phone data and we can look at it, because the timeline is like super tight, like almost to the point where it's like too tight. Like, Ivy Rose, what were you saying about Brad Weber's timeline?
I've come to so let me back up a little bit. I, at this point, am less confident about guilt than before the trial, but I still think he's guilty. The only thing is, for me, the trial like stripped away the evidence except for the timeline. The timeline is what keeps me there at guilt. But I do believe that they tweaked Brad Weber's story a little bit to fit that confession. And then you asked me whenever we were on here last, it seems like last night, but I know it wasn't, a question, and I can't remember what it was, but it made me think about it because it didn't make sense, and I haven't been able to come up with an answer to that, but I also don't remember what it was.
Well, you can't come up with the answer if you don't know the question.
I know. It was a good one, whatever it was.
I'm sure it was. You have good questions. Maybe it was like, how would he see the ban or something?
It was something you asked, because I said that I think they tweaked that answer or the story a little bit to match that thing, and then you were like,
it was like how would he see the ban, and like would like maybe he heard it, but like would he know that it was a white ban? And also like did Walla put it in order?
Did he say white van though, or did he just say van?
I mean, I don't know.
I heard he just said van.
Yeah, I think we've added white van. I think he just said van.
Either way, he would have had to see the actual vehicle to say that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Brad Weber. I think everybody had assumed that Brad Weber came home later. And it was interesting to hear that they couldn't rule his gun out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add that in, and you add in his history with trespassers. I think if they had a do-over, I think the defense might have gone a little harder at Weber than Holder and Westfall.
Well, like, do you think that it was okay for Judge Gold to keep that FBI agent from testifying on what Weber had said originally?
I don't really know what he said originally, or what really happened with that.
Let me see.
I know that Weber lawyered up very quickly. I know that they searched Weber's garage 6 times, all the way up until August of 2017. And I know that they thoroughly investigated him, and his alibi is that he clocked out of work at 2:02.
Yeah, but like, what's the rest of it?
I mean, I think with that, that's enough. Like, if the first step eliminates you, you don't have to go on to the other steps. So if he's at work at 2:02, he can't be at the bridge at 2:13.
Yeah.
So they don't really have to go into any of the other stuff, because the first thing that they look at eliminates him. Kind of like with Holder. You hear about Holder's alibi and being at work, and then people are crying about, oh, well, why didn't they get Holder's phone data? And they do all this stuff. It's because he's eliminated before they need to do that.
Yeah, but like, if you don't see Bridge Guy say down the hill, then like, can we presume that? I mean, that I guess I'd have to see the video myself for that, but it seems like you can't necessarily presume that he's at least by himself or whatever.
Well, one thing that it seems like is pretty clear is how bad the audio was, and that's why it took so long for guys to come out, because they couldn't tell what it was until, better developed technology could decipher what was being said.
Okay, so do either of you know if there was a cardboard thing at the trial where they showed a picture of Bridge Guy like really big, and they had like done the imaging software or something to make it clearer?
I heard that there was a cardboard cutout, but Tommy said from where he was, he couldn't see it. But I heard that there was a cardboard cutout.
Do you think they ran it through like enhancing software like recently?
Probably. But I don't think that the image is what the jury really focused on so much as the voice, because they were talking about during deliberations when they went back to the court. I think that they had asked to hear the audio from the video and to watch one of the interrogation tapes. So I really think that they were focusing on his voice. And a lot of people have said, people that were on the fence or who weren't, vocal about thinking that he was guilty, said that that was a big turning point for them, was hearing his voice.
Yeah, but that's like, I don't know. Like,
I
they
don't
didn't
like
use
that.
any. Yeah.
I think there's other evidence that's more concrete. That's such a subjective thing. Plus, a lot of it had to be enhanced so much. I mean, I know everybody's just human, but is that something that should be like convict somebody evidence, you know?
It depends on how close it is. You know, if it's blatantly obvious, then, I'll get behind it. But, if it's not, when it does come out and people do hear it, then that'll be, disappointing that that's something that they focused on. But just based on the amount of people who immediately when they heard his voice, were vocal about it being a match, I think that it's probably close enough for a layman to be able to make the connection.
Except for like all those people wanted to hear his voice, and like I think that like if you just listen to like one of those things where they tell you what you hear and you could like hear every single different thing that they say, it shows how like that's not good, you know?
But the people that I'm talking about weren't people who were pro prosecution or pro guilt or anything like that. One of the Tom Webster.
I don't know anybody like that. I'm just kidding.
Tom Webster was one of the people who said that the voice was one of the things for him.
Tom Webster on his panel, he said he didn't know all of them were going to vote guilty. I thought it was really funny.
The way that to be really enthralled with the defense, so I definitely thought that they had gotten one or two of them for not guilty. I was very surprised by the unanimous decision.
My lights were just flickering, so if I like get kicked out of here, you guys can continue on, okay?
Sure.
It's like really windy where I live. There's like a cyclone thing coming. I don't know what it is.
I also think if the Odinist stuff had been let in, I think that was just too out there. And
me too.
While I think that would have helped convict him.
I do too.
Not help them find him innocent. I think that if Nick laid it out in a very like simple explanation of like, hey, this is the timeline, this is where this guy was, we can show you he was here at this time, he says he was there at this time, and he was wearing these clothes. Like, that's a simple explanation. And then if you have other people coming in and they're like, okay, ritualistic sacrifice, 5 guys, we don't have any proof that they were there, there's no way that would have helped him.
I mean, they don't have like much proof, like as far as like forensically that anybody in particular was there, except for apparently somebody who works for like ISP, or I'm not sure. How do you think that there was like nothing, that they didn't get anything?
Having just in the occurrence of a odinist ritual is very like unlikely in the first place, just by itself anywhere, let alone that like it happened here and these people did it.
I mean, like a double homicide in the middle of the day like that is very like.
We've had one in my state.
You did?
And there's the one in. I mean, it's like it's rare, but sacrifices are rarer. I don't know. If
was it no? But was it one person that killed the person? Probably, huh?
No, it was 2 girls. It was actually kind of similar to this. 2 preteen girls walking on a dirt road in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, I think that if they had to do it over again, I think that they would have went harder at Brad Weber or maybe even Ron Logan. But I don't think that the jury for 1 second would have bought into anything Odinist.
Well, I think Brad Weber actually did have like an alibi according to like that thing that they were trying to get in that said he didn't come home until like an hour later.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I don't think with the questions that they asked and how focused they were, I just don't think that they could have made the stretch that you have to magically think to buy into the Odinism. And I just don't. Again, my information's secondhand, so I really couldn't say 100% for certain, but it just doesn't seem like that they would have bought into that. And I think that it would have hurt them. But I also wish that they would have allowed it in.
what do you think happened with Weber? Like, how do you think that went down?
I think that when it originally happened, I think that he was under a lot of heavy suspicion just based on his reputation, based on his physical appearance, the fact that he also had a same kind of gun. I think that he didn't cooperate. They searched the garage, like I said, up to 6 times. I guess nothing that they found held any kind of weight, despite seeing things that kind of indicated that it might. But I think that in the end, that there was something that prevented them that we don't know about from going after Weber like that.
I mean, like the interruption. Like, if you go with the state's theory, how do you think the interruption with the van, like, what was the timeline of that? With like, did he go down and like pause, like he was going to essay them, pause,
Here,
and then
I can play a video on that.
I think maybe in terms of he just was uncomfortable with the fact that he could see the van, so he thought that the van could see him. So by interrupted, he maybe just wanted to change the location of where they were to go somewhere more secluded where he couldn't be seen.
Okay. Because some people, I don't know about now, but like while the trial was going on, there was kind of some confusion. Some people thought that they meant interrupted as in he was already on the other side of the creek and he was interrupted by the van. So then he like hurried up and put the sticks on real quick and got out of there. And that's why it looked like unfinished kind of. And then there's the other group of people who, which this is the one that I am on, this is how I understood it, that he was on the original side of the creek, started there, then was interrupted, then had the girls cross the creek and finished over there.
Did I drop off?
No, hold on.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I can hear you.
Okay. I didn't hear that last part. Oh, okay.
I guess you're saying there's like 2 different groups of people on, because there was some confusion about when the interruption happened. And that's where I get the Weber timing doesn't match up for me there. It doesn't change my opinion on guilt, but there's some problems with that van story.
Yeah, I thought when they were adamant about there being details only the killer would know in the confessions, I definitely didn't think that the smoking gun was going to be that he saw a van. You know, I thought it was going to be like something in terms of like number of injuries, location of injuries, direction of injuries, something like that. You know, not that. And I was disappointed in the confessions. I was disappointed that some of the confessions even included things like, well, I think I did it. And but at the same time too, it was just I can see why it would be hard for 12 impartial people to get past that he made 61 admissions unsolicited, not under interrogation and to family members. And, you know, I didn't hear them, but just that he sounded, you know, normal when making some of them.
Well, did you think that the thing that only the killer would know, that the cops would also know it, or just like literally only the killer would know it?
I think that they should have done a better job with the box cutter information. But it sounded like that they had no idea that it could have been a box cutter until he mentioned box cutter. And then they kind of had to scramble. And that guy's testimony was like, yeah, it definitely could have been a box cutter. And so I guess the way that plays out, since he didn't say it in his deposition, I don't really know how that works. But, you know, that didn't look great. But
it seems like it works like a little bit just like the van information and the like the confessions. They made them like sound legitimate. But hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna play this video and then you guys could hear like the timeline of how that happened. Maybe.
So that between 2:18 and 2:25.
2:32. You've walked the grounds. How long does it take to get from point A to point B? How much time is there for things to happen?
Well, when I walked it, I wasn't able to walk all the way across the bridge and do it that way. I was too fearful to walk across the bridge. But at one point, Brad Weber did give me permission to go onto his property. So I was able to walk from the south end of the bridge down the hill to the creek, across the creek onto Ron Logan's property. And for me, that was about a 10 to 12 minute walk. From Libby's phone data, we do know that between 2:18 and 2:25, no steps were recorded. So there's about a 7-minute period, 0 steps recorded. 2:25 to 2:32, 60 steps are recorded. Now that could fit with what Richard Allen said happened out there, that he had taken them down towards the creek, intending to sexually assault them, eventually got spooked by a van and crossed the creek and killed them over on the other side on Ron Logan's property. The last time that the steps, as you mentioned, were recorded on Libby's phone was 2:32, but the last movement recorded on her phone was at 2:39.
Okay, Gray Hughes, starting to put together all these people.
Okay. We watch Gray Hughes too, but he's annoying.
I don't remember hearing the 2:39. Do you guys?
No.
I don't think I've ever heard that. Not that it matters, but.
Yeah.
So he got off work at 2:02, right? Brad Weber did.
Uh-huh.
And then how long did you say that it said to get home for him?
Google Maps says 31 minutes.
I mean, it kind of fits, but maybe he drives really fast or something. I don't know.
The video's at 2:13 though.
Well, are we talking about Brad Weber's potential guilt, which I don't think there's any.
No, just for him, the van.
In time for, yeah, I mean, it's also very tight.
That's what she said. Just kidding.
And the distance, I was trying to find the distance. It said she went starting at, what was that, 2:25? And I don't think it was far enough to get across the creek.
Let me see. I have a thing of. I wish Peggy would come on here and.
It was the equivalent of 166 feet, which is about a football field and a half. No, half a football. So, think about half a football field, and we've always heard that they were from the bank to where they were found was about 50 feet. Do you think you can cross the creek in like a half a football field?
Maybe.
I've never seen it in person, so.
I haven't either. But I mean, a half a football field's kind of like a lot. I don't think that creek's like all that wide. Hold on, let me share my other screen and maybe it'll have it on this information of like all the phone data that I don't think either of you guys looked at, which is fine. I won't take it personal. Just kidding. No, not that one. Sorry.
I was surprised we didn't hear anything about the his car or his phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprised we didn't hear anything about the phone, about the clothing, about a lot of things. And I've said it a bunch of times now, but the whole Pat Brown versus Dave Erskine thing is probably what bothered me the most about who found the bodies.
I forgot about that.
And how Dave has been adamant since 2017 that he called the coordinates to the fire department over a department issued radio and relayed the coordinates. And then he called Drew Yoder and what's his name, Gencola, or however you say it.
Mhm.
And then they throw Pat Brown up on the stand, and bumbling Pat Brown just happens to stumble on the bodies. I thought that was very, very, very fucking weird.
Mark, do you think that, like, as a pro-prosecution person, like, that that you kind of have to, like, almost not question anything and just, like, go with what the state says in order to, like, feel good about Richard Allen being convicted? Or do you feel like there's really actually, like we just maybe don't know all the evidence that they saw in court, and it's actually, like, a solid
I think
conviction?
that they did enough with the timeline and how, by his own words, he makes himself fit into that timeline. I think that that's what is enough for me. And do I wish that there was more compelling evidence that would silence a lot of people who are doubting it? Absolutely. But at the same time, like, if you break it down, the amount of things that would have to simultaneously be happening for him to be innocent isn't just reasonable to believe.
Well, like, what if there was that person that was seen on the other side of the bridge, right? So, like, just because Richard Allen or didn't see Bridge Guy, and so, like, then he must be Bridge Guy because he didn't see Bridge Guy. I just don't really think that's, like, a compelling argument. And, like, he did say he was there at different times, which, like, multiple of the witnesses changed their stories. Even Brad Weber changed his story. I'm not saying he's guilty whatsoever. I'm just saying that, like, there was a lot of people that changed their timelines. So why is it just, like, Richard Allen so that it makes him be, like, very shady?
Because it's when you add everything up about when his initial timeline was, when he changed his timeline. There was even a point in the 26th interrogation video where Kathy's like, hey, you never told me you were on the bridge.
I don't know.
There's also the like with the group of girls, they have those Snapchat pictures that have times on them where they were at the benches.
And their accounts match each other.
And
Okay, so do you guys want to see
his
this?
car being on video and it being the only car registered in Carroll County, and
I mean,
light shining through the rims. And
I don't like when people say that, though, because they didn't identify. I'm going to get nitpicky. They didn't identify a Ford Focus. So then it doesn't really matter if he's the only Ford Focus. They just identified a car that looked like his, which I assume was a small, curvy black car. And then because of the rims, you could probably tell it was his. But I assume, like,
I mean, that's a pretty identifiable picture, though. All black rims on a black hatchback, and the rims are modeled in such a way that the light goes through them, and then when it's on camera in a significant place of interest at
I agree with that. I just don't like when people say he had the only 2016 Ford Focus, because they didn't that wasn't part of the identification.
But that
plus, like, why didn't they use that car to, like, put that out when they're looking for somebody that did this? They didn't put out, like, any of the cars. Like, that would have been a very good identifier.
Because they didn't know it was that car until they arrested him.
I guess that they had probably a long list of cars that it could probably be then.
They didn't even. How would they have known that was the car of the killer, though?
I think maybe that they had, like, a certain block of times to when whoever drove whatever car it was. And I guess it was probably just too long of a list. And then when somebody came up, they could compare it to the list of cars that they had, and then that would escalate their interest in them.
I don't know. I don't feel good about that whole thing. Like, and, like, how good a video, like, do you think it is, anyways?
Apparently, it's good enough to where you can see light going through the rims.
I mean, I don't know.
And then when you add that that matches up with the initial time that he told the officers, or told Doolin, and then he changes it 5 years later. Like, when you look at things just as one piece, no. But when you add everything together, it's too hard to explain away in a reasonable way.
Let me Google it. Exactly. Like, that's funny.
And you have to think about that there was somebody who was driving the same kind of car, wearing the same kind of clothes.
I don't know about the clothes too. Like, it's a black or blue jacket and jeans. Like that's a lot of people wear that stuff. And like all the witnesses changed their story like to some extent in that amount of time. It's like that's a long time to
Not that significantly. What other witnesses changed their story?
I mean, Kelsey changed her story many times right out the gate, which I'm not saying anything is bad about that. I'm just saying that like
But she didn't change what times that she looked for him.
I mean, on the news they said that they got dropped off at 1:00, and that's like not the time that they got
the news said that. Did she say that directly, or was she misquoted? He said in one interview with an officer, a DNR officer, then he says another thing with Carroll County officers, right? That's very different. And the things that Kelsey changes her story or misremembers or whatever, they don't hold significant weight like the change in his story.
I mean,
to me, it would be like more suspicious if you came in with a story and then repeated it like verbatim every time.
Why though? When that, if your story is your story, why at all?
Like the exact same. I don't mean
maybe change it. Maybe change how you say it, but you're not going to change your time.
I was arguing the opposite of what you took it as. I was talking more about like Kelsey and the other ones of if you're not like, until you like sit down and you get all the times together, they can change. And if you weren't planning on remembering it, then it doesn't stick in your head the same.
So do you guys think it was like a random, like he just found them and like killed them, or did he plan to do that? Because like who would park at the CPS building? That's like very far away, like very obvious. Like
where else would you park though?
The cemetery.
If you're talking about that, how is it clarified? How is it stated as the Farm Bureau building, and then it's later changed to the CPS building? When was that clarified? Was that clarified by when he was talking with Doolin? Was that clarified in 2022? Who clarified it? Did Alan clarify it? Did ISP clarify it? That was something that I wanted to know that wasn't brought up really at all. It was just kind of changed. And who changed it? Did Alan change it? Did ISP change it? How did they determine that it was originally the Farm Bureau building, but then it was the CPS building? Who made that mistake? And
there was a little video that they showed where they were like, there was a map. I think it was or somewhere around like the Holman interrogation. So there was a map, him, Holman, and one of the other police, and they were talking about it, but I don't think they said anything specific to know exactly where they were talking about. It was something like, I didn't hear anything about an actual Farm Bureau building, but he said something like it wasn't the big bridge, it was the small bridge. A lot by the small bridge.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what that would be. But they were looking at a map.
I know he said he came in a different way than what they were saying that he came in, because like that was one of the things the defense was like, you lied, and because he didn't say that he drove that way to be seen on that building. I'm not sure.
And then the whole thing with what he was doing before, how he was at his parents' house, and then they want to go to lunch, but instead of going to lunch with them, he goes and grabs a 6-pack. Like, what happened there? Was there some?
I don't know, but I could relate to that.
Or, I mean, there's a lot. There's more to that could definitely add to his mindset, and nobody was forthcoming about what happened there. So, I mean, I think
why didn't they subpoena his bank records or credit card or something like that to find like where he bought those? That would have been good.
That would have been great.
And then have like a video of like a store where he's in the same clothes or whatever earlier that day. I guess he wouldn't be because he said he changed his clothes though. Huh?
But that doesn't bother you that he said that he changed his timeline from what he told them a couple of days after and what he told them 5 years later. That's not suspicious.
No, I think why if you're gonna make up a story, wouldn't you be say, why wouldn't he just say he saw a guy wearing those clothes, because he didn't say what clothes he was wearing, that day, and he could have been just like one of the witnesses. Like, if he's gonna lie, he did like the worst job of like making any sort of, I don't know.
But that doesn't bother you that he changed his timeline 5 years later? That's not suspicious.
It could be, but it could just be like it was 6 years later or whatever, and he just like was, I don't know, like things, you forget stuff, like even stuff like that.
To me, the timeline, I get a lot out of what the defense or the prosecution, what they focus on and what they don't focus on, and what they say and what they don't say. And I don't think they focused on the timeline very much. So to me, that says that it wasn't
valid.
as strong of a point as we, like some people may think it was.
I mean, it seems like that in their closing that's all they did was focus on the timeline.
The defense?
No, I think the defense couldn't focus on the timeline because they had absolutely nothing to refute it.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, because the Judge Gold didn't like allow there was like other phones in the area, or like she didn't allow a lot of the data.
That doesn't just because there are other, that doesn't refute his timeline though. That just casts suspicion elsewhere, while it does nothing to exonerate him.
But like the phone data that they didn't allow in. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. So this data is like compiled from like any time somebody like testified in court, or like it was in a filing, and like she listed the ranges, and she used the FBI cast field guide, and like it's a mixture of like all the different kinds of data that they ever talked about like in court and was mentioned. And so like she lists all the stuff that they used on it, like Cellbrite, Magnet, Axiom, Gray Key, Cast, Viz. And then the data analyzed is phone extractions, Apple Health data, iCloud, Knowledge C database, tower pings, geolocation data from Google. And then she just goes through and like puts all of that, like compiles all that information. And I'm not exactly that prepared because I didn't like look through this stuff really good beforehand, but there was a couple things that I found like interesting just by like glancing through it. So I'm gonna find those, but you guys could keep talking if you want.
Did you hear about the guy who was, or I say guy, whoever was seen on the trail cams? That was a new piece of information.
I think he was seen twice, wasn't he? Like on the 13th and the 14th.
But now I feel silly after all these years of yelling at people about trail cams and saying there was nobody out there. But the way that the defense presented it made it sound, well, I say that since we got it like third hand, I can't accuse them of that. But I kind of pictured it as close, but then I was talking to somebody else about exactly where it was, and it sounded like far enough away that it would make sense that you wouldn't necessarily see them. But it's crazy that they got so close.
So this right here says, was Liberty German's phone examined for? Did it have water damage? It did not. This is who's testifying right here.
That is so dumb.
This is from, I think it's from the Blotcher report, right? I think so. No, but it's somebody testifying. Oh, Bunner. And so was there dirt on the phone when it was found? Oh, it's Cecil. Don't know. Sorry. It says it. But like, so it didn't have water damage, and they don't know if there was dirt on the phone. And then the iPhone, or that
you said it didn't have water damage. I thought they said they didn't open it.
Well, that's according to his testimony in the 3-day hearings. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The pretrial. So it says, was LG's phone examined for / did it have water damage? That's like a double-barreled question, and those would be two different answers. So like if it was it examined?
I think that it would say like they didn't like examine it or something, but I'm not sure. Like,
because I think in trial they testified and said they didn't examine it, because that's crazy to me that they didn't examine it.
I would imagine they'd have like pictures. They'd have to examine that part, I think. I'm not sure. But so I'm not really going to go through this because I'm not prepared to, but you guys should look through it, even though like Mark said he was over it and didn't want to look through it. But this is like the most interesting part of like it. Oh, right here. This is what I found very interesting was that it said that approximately 5 photos were found on Liberty German's phone. In 4 of the photos, you can see a man behind Abby William. None of these 5 are the 2 posted to Snapchat. And 2 of these photos were taken in the car, which I'm not sure exactly. I guess approximately 5 photos. And then Bunner said that he was not aware of any deleted photos or videos on the phone or through Snapchat. But so I was thinking maybe like that's how they enhanced the photos. Like, was there a video? Yeah, there was, huh? Because they know how long it was.
Yeah, it was taken by the regular like phone app, not Snapchat. I guess the reason that the water thing stuck out to me is because of the phone jack, audio jack thing. To me, like it should have just popped open the phone, and you know, there's those little like sensor things that, like change color if you get your phone wet.
Absolutely.
And then they could have proved that part of it. But they did something that I haven't heard people talk about. In the very beginning, like the first few days of the trial, when they were going through like the very original descriptions of the scene, they said that they found the phone and that had condensation on it, and like in it, not on it, is how I understood it.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they didn't bring that up later to, you know, back up. Well, I guess they weren't prepared for the headphone jack thing, but they could have brought that up to back up the whole like water damage in the headphone jack thing.
Well, maybe it was like blood damage, blood in there or something. But then what would have cleared it out? I don't know.
Just take a picture.
Like, how about Abby Williams like not having any blood on her hands and stuff? How did that happen?
I'll let Mark answer that because I answered it last time.
No defensive wounds. Is that where or not instinctually like grabbing her throat?
Yeah.
She could have been somehow incapacitated before her throat was slashed.
Just like, do you think she just like passed out or something?
Maybe she was so scared. I don't know. Nobody knows. But
that's one of those things that's super odd no matter what happened. Like there's no real like explanation where it would be like, oh, that's not rare. I think the ME said that he had never seen that before.
But what would that mean though?
I don't think it means, I mean, not for like guilt. I don't think it means anything. Just one of those things that's like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then say like headphones were plugged in, going back to that, like, is somebody just sitting there, not moving the phone at all and plugged some headphones in?
Yeah, I don't really.
Like what is the significance of that? What would that mean?
I mean, maybe they're implying that that like, because the only thing I would think it could possibly mean would be like that Libby was like still alive and was the one plugging it in, because otherwise I don't think it really makes sense that like the killer would be out there like plugging headphones into the phone.
If you're gonna use that to bolster any kind of argument, then you're using phone data. So then you have to be in agreement that the other phone data with the phone not moving after 2:39 is also accurate, right? So then it's just somebody sitting there plugging in and unplugging a headphone in the jack. Like what would that mean?
Everything.
I did think it was interesting that they didn't. We didn't really hear them argue at all about the 4 whatever time it was that they argued in the pretrial.
Right.
Yeah, that was like a better argument.
But like if it was,
I need you to come up here and explain the notes.
It's one of those things like if it was true, and I know that's not their job, but it still would have been something for them to argue.
It very much seems like that they gave up, like that they rested, that they rested at the start of the next day. Because I thought that they were doing a pretty good job. The way that I thought it was going to play out was I thought that they were the first thing them that they did was they were, attacking the confessions by highlighting his mental state and treatment. And then I thought that they were going to go on to attacking the timeline and then possibly providing some kind of alternate timeline for him, but they didn't at all.
Yeah, they were like missing the whole like giving them anything else to like believe in.
Both sides didn't do a very good job at like making everything fit into like a story of what happened. It was all very piecemeal together.
And the expert that what was his name? Cecil? That guy sounded like a joke.
That was the state's expert.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he did. Like that, he went out and Googled it. Not good.
He sounded like he says, I don't know more than Tommy.
What's crazy to me is they got the headphone jack thing. They got that from the state's own report. So like how could the state not be prepared for that question? It said, even like the little line they got it from said something about audio.
Because he doesn't know anything. That guy was like, to call him an expert is like, that's a reach.
Well, couldn't he have Googled sooner over the last like however many years?
I mean, they could have just kept the FBI on the case, and that's like their fucking jam is stuff like that. Or like, why are they ordering stuff from China when they could just be sending it to the FBI to get it like restored? That's like what they do.
And why didn't Keegan Kline and Haas and Chadwell, why didn't they?
I don't know. That one bugged me too. I just wanted to know what they were going to say.
I think that they were just going to paint a picture of how the investigation works and how the lack of evidence just made them rely on eliciting a confession from a person of interest, which probably would have been pretty compelling. But why didn't they do that?
Maybe because there had already been basically 5 experts testified to that like area of their defense, all mental health ones, but maybe they had decided.
Yeah, maybe they didn't even have like funding for that many experts because like that one Dr. Penny, whatever, she like alone cost a good chunk of change.
Hello. You cut out.
Oh. I was just saying maybe they couldn't get that many experts approved. Like, like they're only allowed to have so many.
Have you heard, we talked about this last time and I forgot to look into it. I don't know. I still don't know what to think about the sticks on the blood. I mean, it's probably either means nothing or means something to him, just like the sticks on the body did.
I think a lot of people are focusing on I don't think that he used the sticks to cover the bodies. I think he did use the sticks to cover the wounds, the slashes. Not necessarily the entire bodies, but just the injuries. And when you look at it that way, it's a little bit more believable than he was trying to conceal the body. He was trying to conceal the injuries, meaning that the bodies were still there, but the injuries were gone from his mind.
Yes, I think he regretted what he had done. My current theory is that he has had these fantasies over time. It's always been in the back of his head, and then it got to a point where he was just going to do it. So he did, and then halfway through this, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't like this. This is bad. Like this is way more than I thought it was going to be." And then he didn't know what to do, so then he started doing the undoing type behavior.
He's gonna pull. Dan, don't pull a Charles, please.
Yeah, and that's probably why he never tried it again.
Yeah. He said something about I wanted to make sure they were dead so they wouldn't suffer. And I know we talk about Libby being treated so much more brutally, but besides her clothes, I wonder if that's the way that the reason why the cuts were the way they were, because not to get graphic, but because she was able to take a few steps and he was like, "Oh my gosh." And so he went crazy with it to make sure that she was gone.
Yeah, I don't know.
That we never heard a word about the shot in the back confessions, like he said he was going to talk about in his opening, or that he tried to bury them, like he said he talked about in his opening, which the only thing I could gather from that is there's probably a lot more context to those that makes it look a lot more guilty than saying something wrong. Like if it was just him coming out and saying something like that, that would have definitely helped and highlighted, the validity of the confessions, but they didn't bring that up.
I was thinking maybe if they did that the state would get an opportunity to cross-examine him, and maybe that's why they didn't. I don't know, because we know that I don't know if they said that he had 61 confessions during the trial or not. I can't remember, but they only presented like
a handful,
7 or 8. Yeah.
And Kathy didn't testify too.
Yeah.
Which was very odd to me.
Yeah, he needed like some kind of character witnesses, I think.
Yeah, but like they, I think that they didn't want to put his wife up on there because she would have been grilled by the prosecution about what she drove when she came home, what he said when she came home, all that stuff. And I think it was too risky for them.
Yeah, I guess it does. Assuming that he's
what
guilty.
Did he say about the murders, or like, did you guys ever talk about the murders? How was his mental state around Valentine's Day? When did he stop? All the questions that they would want to ask him, they could ask her.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
And, she's not compelled to testify against him, but she could agree to be a witness for the defense, but then she would open herself up to cross-examination, and they would ask her all the questions that they wanted to ask him. And she didn't want to do that, and they didn't want to risk that. So that also tells me something.
I think she did want to do it though, because didn't somebody say that like they were like in there and they heard the defense saying like, oh well, you're gonna have to test, like we need you to testify or something. I think it's still like the email stuff.
I can't remember.
What about the motorcycle cover? Yeah, what about the motorcycle cover?
No idea.
Not only the motorcycle cover, but like there was that whole theory, and it makes you wonder, like, where did that stuff come from originally? I guess the same place that like Erskine came from.
Right.
Well, Erskine came from himself though, right? Like didn't he?
From his mouth many times.
That's kind of what I mean. Like people from back then saying that they like saw something, or this is part of it.
I think Erskine was right though. Like I don't think he lied on his testimony or whatever. I think that's like realistically what happened, in my opinion.
How then?
There's a weird, I don't know.
Why did they call Pat Brown?
Because they like made the story fit to Alan. Like I think they legitimately believed it was Alan, and so they were willing to like bend a little here and shove a little there to make it like a good enough story where like.
But how does Pat Brown make that?
Yeah.
Fit?
Because I don't know, it maybe lines up because which way was Erskine's coming from where he found that stuff?
I don't know.
I don't think I think
closed.
I think they wanted it to be like you had to go from the other side to be able to see it, like that you couldn't see it from a vantage point from that side of the bridge, or you know what I mean, or that side of the river, whatever it's called, creek. I don't know what it is.
Speaking of the clothes, whose whatever you want to call it, like bandana was that?
I don't know. They're like, we don't need to test this. This is old.
I mean, it could have been.
That made the state look really bad that they didn't test the hair.
Oh, I forgot about the hair already.
Made them look really bad. I mean, it played out in their favor, sure, but like the fact that they didn't test that, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I get that you call me pro-prosecution, but I think that they're fucking idiots too. But I definitely think that he's guilty.
And the sticks.
Yeah, that they didn't. Yeah.
But do you think that they like fudged the evidence in any places to like not like a big conspiracy, just like, did they really thought, or they really think Richard Allen's the guy, and so they were willing to like bend a little bit?
Like what?
Like a little bit, or like by taking Brad Weber's testimony, even though like he clearly had other testimony, like, but they were fine with putting that as his statement. I don't know, it's just like a lot of stuff like that you guys are talking about.
Well, I don't know what Brad Weber said originally, so I can't say.
Did you hear what happened with all that, like during the trial, that made it look suspicious?
That sort of, but being put on the spot right now, not fully. Yeah. Just basically that he had said something else to the initial investigators, but I think that he said that because he was under suspicion and he wanted to distance himself as much as possible, and they could prove what he originally said versus what actually happened later. And I think that that was probably proven at like a later date. But I think, like I said, that there was something that exonerated him.
Why wouldn't they show that, though?
What's that?
Why wouldn't they show that proof? And I don't mean to exonerate him. I mean to show that he got home at that time. Because the guy, there was like, I guess the FBI, what is his name? Agent Poole? He interviewed Weber. And then there was an ISP or a county cop or something like that that was somehow involved in that too. They got the county cop on the stand and they asked him questions about the interview. And he was like, I don't remember. Then they gave him the form, the FBI form that had the information about what happened, like the report in hand. He was still like, nope, don't remember. They were like, so would you like to refresh your memory? He's like, I don't remember, which that looked suspicious by itself. Then because he couldn't remember, that allowed them to do the TUI request to get the FBI guy in, since he did that, to say what he originally heard. But that guy was having health issues and was somehow working in the elections. So he needed to do it via Zoom, which was fine. People were willing to get it done. But then Judge Gull denied the Zoom part of it. So he wasn't able to testify. And between like those three things, that's what makes me very suspicious about that particular story. Just because if they had proof of that he originally told a different story because he was paranoid about like it being put on him or whatever, why wouldn't they show that? Why did they go out of their way to not get it heard?
I think because that would have been confusing to the jury. So I think that they just...
By confusing, do you mean like that would create like doubt in the jury?
I don't know about doubt, but I just think that it wouldn't... If they knew that what he was saying lined up, and they knew that what he said originally was just to avoid suspicion, I think laying that out would have been confusing. And the fact that what they knew that they were saying could be proved, I think is why it happened that way.
But if it could be proved, then why would it be confusing? I think I was saying, like, why wouldn't they just explain?
They would have to highlight why he was untruthful in his initial interviews.
Heaven forbid they actually show the evidence. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I'll have to fight you guys over Walla.
Yeah, Walla is definitely in the problem category for sure.
I'm a Walla apologist.
Oh, I don't know. I've been corrected about things that I've said about Walla, because I originally thought that like shredding her notes and stuff like that, I didn't think you were supposed to do that, but I guess you are supposed to do that. But
yeah, it's fine.
I don't think that she was spoon feeding him stuff the way that some people like want to lay it out, because then you have to assume that she wants, that she's in on this too, that she wants him to be guilty. And I mean, that.
I don't think wasn't Fig saying that like for a while that Richard Allen confessed to his counselor or mental health person.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so how the fuck did Fig know that, like, back then?
Ask him.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that he has me blocked, so I can ask him. But plus, I don't think he would say anyways. Like, obviously, I mean, I would assume that, like, maybe, like, in one of the groups that she actually talked to, maybe him, because I don't know how else he would know that.
I don't think that that's it.
Well, I mean, it'd have to be something like that.
I think maybe Walla might have mentioned it to someone else, and then someone else might have mentioned it to a few people.
Is that what happened? That's what you're saying happened?
I think that's might been what have happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also didn't really believe it when it came out.
I didn't either. I was like, there's no way you know what the fuck he said to her. But like, so do you think that he like said the confession as it's like written out, or like how Wallace said that he said it, or like that she put it in order for him?
I think that he said it the way that it was written out.
I disagree on that part. Just because it would be a bitch to have to write down a quote like that. It doesn't mean it wasn't like paraphrased in the same order. But I think it could go either way.
The one that bothered me was the one where he's like, I, Richard Allen, did this, and I did it all by myself, or whatever that one said. That one felt like a spoon-fed confession.
Well, were the first confessions, or those the ones where he was saying like, I think I did this, and like whatever, like those were his like very first ones, right?
In the back of the car, and he's like, it's all over. And then you also have to highlight when he's just getting in there and he tells Kathy, hey, if it's too much, I'll tell the investigators everything that they want to know. That's before any of the mistreatment or anything like that happened. One of them before he was incarcerated.
That one doesn't sound like a confession at all to me, like at all. And it's hard for me to understand why people think it does.
Which one?
Because the one that about Kathy.
Oh.
If things get too much, like I'll tell them whatever they want to hear. And my boyfriend doesn't follow the case. He hears me talk about it, and I don't think he listens. But I asked him about that part when I heard it, and I said, what did you get out of that? Do you think he was confessing? Or he was like, no, he was like falling on the sword for his wife, that if it got to be too much, that he would be willing to like go down.
I get what you're saying there, but how would him confessing to these murders make things easier for her?
Like if the investigation part, which I want to say he said it another time too, while he was in prison.
I definitely get where you're going with that, but I don't think that him confessing to brutally murdering 2 children would make anything easier for her.
That's kind of a good point. Oh, but like that doesn't mean that he wasn't like seeking that when he said it.
And I don't think that that's something that an innocent person would say. If you're talking to your wife,
I see like a lot of dumb
hey,
stuff.
Gotta be
a lot
strong,
of times.
Baby. We'll beat this because I didn't do this. Not, hey, this gets too much for you. I'll tell them everything that they want to know, because then everybody will know that I'm a child murderer and you were living with me for 5 years. I have no clue.
I was thinking he said that while in prison, like the first month or two. I don't know if it even makes that much of a difference.
I think it was in like November, like middle of November when he said
that would make
how that would make it more easy for her.
It doesn't make as like that to me sounds more like a confession, like if it was during the interrogation. Somebody said something up here though that stood out to me. Hold on. It was about Abby and redressing and washing. I don't know why people think. I mean, I do know why people think Abby was washed.
Here. Oops, no, right here.
But I don't think it's necessary.
Are you talking about this one? Right here, number 4.
Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the comments. It was somebody said something about Abby being like, how could he do all that and then like wash Abby and redress her by himself, I think. And I see a lot of people talking about that, but I don't think it's necessarily required for her to be washed. And the blood spatter analysis guy said that she was already dressed when she was killed anyway.
Yeah.
I think she like passed out from being like really, really scared, and then he just like went over there and like did it, and she just didn't move, I guess. But like, would you not like instinct like you wouldn't you still have like the reactions like babies
Not
have
if
the
you
fall
were passed
reaction or
out.
whatever?
I don't understand how people still think that they were removed from the scene, murdered elsewhere, and then returned to the scene where everybody was looking for them.
It doesn't make any sense.
None. Zero. And they're just sitting there plugging in and unplugging headphones, I guess, too.
So she said that it was, I can't talk, sorry. Because it says she was pristine in court, but I don't think that's true. Like, she had a little bit of blood spatter on like the top of her head. Her back, like her hoodie, the back of her hoodie was like soaked.
Yep.
Soaked with blood, to the point that the sheet that they put her in to take her to do the autopsy had blood all over it from the soaked hoodie. Like, there was that much in there. And then it was also on like the upper part of her back and shoulders on the one side.
And like, didn't she like bleed out like a lot, like exsanguination or like 40% or something?
They both
of her blood
died from like blood loss, basically. That's the other thing. I think I said this last time. I don't know exactly how much blood you have to bleed out before you die, but it's not all of it.
Yeah, you can't really bleed out all your blood. But just the fact that a lot of people are...
Hey, be nice to Bossy in their chat, guys. Everybody be nice to each other. Everybody. Or you don't have to be like nice, but just don't be mean.
Do we lose Mark?
I don't know. Maybe he just wants
No,
to be quiet.
I'm here. No, can you not hear me?
You
well,
cut
you
out
were
when
muted, so I think he was muted.
Oh. No, I was just saying like that I can't wrap my head around that people are still really, really vocal about it not being the kill site, that's the dump site.
I mean, there was people there. Even if people weren't at the scene during the search, they were around. So how, like, just taking bodies anywhere in that area would be hard, let alone at night with people around.
And then bringing them back.
Yeah.
You know,
and lividity.
And then putting sticks on them in the pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I've heard all this stuff about, it takes 7 minutes to get to Patrick Westfall's house. And it's like, if Patrick Westfall wasn't friends with Brad Holder or Facebook, nobody would know this guy's name. Nobody.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're just looking at connections. So, like, people that aren't connected, they don't know who they are.
But then everything, like, then you look into other stuff. It's like, they were fighting at the time. It's like, okay, well, were they fighting at the time, or were they doing rituals together at the time? It's like, pick one.
They were doing rituals and they got in a fight because Brad Holder was going to go be a traveling yogi.
I thought they got in a fight because Brad wouldn't stop going to church.
Yeah, they did, but like also I think he was like butthurt because he was going to leave him because he was like, and I never spoke to him again. Or I think those things like did happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was connected to the crime. But like I could definitely get on board with that whole theories and stuff.
If Westfall said that he was there that day, at all, I'd be a lot more open to anything that people said about him. Alan says he was there that day, says he was there at the time, says he was dressed like the person in the video, drives a car that's captured on the camera. I mean, and that doesn't mean anything?
I didn't say it doesn't mean anything.
Well, what does it mean to you then?
I mean, I don't know.
But like, how can you be more suspicious of someone else more so than Alan when Alan does say all
I'm
that.
not more suspicious of anybody else. I'm like open to it being Alan. I'm okay with it being Alan. I just want like it to make like I just want them to have done a better job, which they didn't. But that doesn't mean it's not him. I've never said that I don't. I'm not gonna say I never said I don't think it's him, because I definitely have said that before. But like, I don't know. I'm just like, whether it's him or not, I'm just gonna make myself believe that anyways. So I just don't have the fight in me anymore. Plus, I drink some alcohol and I'm like, I'm chilling right now.
I'm scrolling through the comments.
Yeah. Dan, come in here.
To discount everything that points to Alan, though, you know, like
I don't discount everything.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up, but at the same time, like there is a lot of stuff that does make it add up, and it's enough to make it add up that it takes away reasonable doubt, not all doubt, but reasonable doubt. And unless he's got some doppelganger who drives the same car, who was there around the same time, like it's just not reasonable to think that it's somebody else.
I haven't seen all the evidence like the jury has, and maybe this will change once I do. I'm not sure I could have voted guilty as a juror, even though I do think he's guilty. But I think that like maybe seeing a screenshot of his car in the video, like that was very obvious. That would definitely push me. And I can't think of, there was another thing that I was thinking about that may push me into that direction more. I'm definitely on the edge of it if I was like a juror, but as of right now, I'm not sure I can actually have voted it. Like, you know, for legal, like following the rules and everything of the juror instructions.
Damn it, we need Sterling in here. I think me and Sterling almost had I be convinced of the other side last time. Mark was like, I need to come on. Then he brings you back to the other side.
What is I don't even remember what Sterling thinks. Does he think he might be innocent?
I mean, he's not content with the evidence, I guess.
So I'm gonna go lock up my work. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
I forgot about boot prints. I don't know what happened to those.
Yeah. They just...
Oh, wait, they said they didn't take them, I think, because there were so many people around.
But they saw some. They just didn't take them. That's dumb. Dude, I made a margarita with like 2 shots in it, right? And I'm drinking like not even 1/3 of it. And I feel super buzzed. I'm like, I don't even know what my arguments were anymore.
I have no idea. It's fine. Odinist, that's all I remember. Just big tall guy.
I'm like, I just remember that Jenny likes Patrick Westphal. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
Sorry, Jenny. Just outed you.
Who is L. Waters who I think it is?
I don't know who you think it is, so I don't know if it is.
L. Waters, would you, if you are who I think you are, how do I ask this? I would be interested in your opinion on the confessions from a psychological standpoint.
Oh, I could drop like the link for anybody that wants to come in here and freaking talk if they want, if you guys want. Anybody? Do you care if anybody comes on here?
Oh, what? Oh, were you asking us if we care? I don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like there was more, I was trying to think of what was some more of the like new information you can remember, Mark?
He went to go lock up his shop.
Oh, I thought I saw him come back. Maybe I've been drinking and I just don't know it. I was thinking about Abby, that maybe, you know how her hands are in her sleeves?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe they were in there and then how do I explain this? Like, then you would just have to hold like the ends of the sleeves down for a little bit for her to not touch.
Yeah, that's true.
Because my thing is, there's no bruises. You would expect there to be bruises if somebody was like held down roughly.
But like, I mean, how roughly would you have to hold? Like, she's like, is she even 100 pounds? I don't think she even was.
No, but with all the adrenaline in the whole situation, maybe I'm wrong, but I would just expect somebody to do it hard.
Yeah.
Hello.
Jenny, I'm sorry. I know it's your secret. I outed you. I know those damn bears. It's so hot.
That's the only thing I remember about him too. I'm like, does he not know about Pizzly bears? Is that what we're saying?
Salutations, everybody. How are y'all doing today?
Hello, who is this?
This is nothing that sees everything. I'm the one that. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want you guys to have a little critical thinking. There was no DNA connection, correct?
True.
The scene was technically contaminated, correct?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
The fire.
Back up real quick. There was DNA, but there was no DNA that matched Richard Allen.
Okay.
But there was also no, like, I think there was an unidentified something, but I can't really remember what it was.
That would be as Tova Leggins said. They found a partial smudge fingerprint underneath the hood of Abby. That was said way early on in his interview. Yeah. But also, I'm saying is he's involved. I'm not saying he's the unlifer, the killer. I look at it as you have many moving parts in here because this is what I find interesting. They stated that they found a ping at 2:49 that came from the fire department in the interview. You guys remember that interview?
2:49.
Yes, they said it was the last ping and they searched the area to look for the phone and they couldn't find the phone. They came from the assistant the chief in his interview.
That interview. Yeah.
Now, we find out later the last ping was what time? In this case?
4 something a.m.? No.
4 something a.m.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't asked the thing. Did they mention the 2:49 ping?
I don't think so.
Also, on top of it is apparently there were drones, right? We was told there were drones. Was that mentioned in the court?
I don't know if that's true or not, though.
That was just like a citizen, though.
Yeah.
Well, by Ron Logan's account, he says Pat Brown was the one that found the girls. I find it very interesting about 2-something. Pat Brown's vehicle is kind of parked in a haphazard way. He loses his keys. Don't know how. Comes back.
He didn't lose his keys. That's a rumor.
Yeah.
Hi, Paradox.
What's up?
His wife had to go home. His wife had to go home and get his keys after he had been blocked in by police. So he had to leave his truck in the cemetery overnight. And when they told him you should come get them, they're like, okay, we got to go home and get the keys and we'll be back. But he didn't lose the keys.
But apparently, he supposedly, in the past, in groups, there was always a fight about who found the girls first, right? Like you had John Jake with the one with his phone saying he saw the girls, and then have supposedly Pat Brown found them, and then you have Machine King and everyone else that found them.
Okay.
My whole thing is it's very ironic. If Pat Brown found the bodies, he's there prior, near the time when the last ping was, and then all of a sudden he's able by himself, apparently, he finds the body. How's that possible?
Why would the last ping matter?
Well, the last ping matter because when you do your triangulation and everything on it, if you have the last ping and we know where the phone was, here's the key question. How come when they searched that area where the last ping was, how come they didn't find the body? How come they didn't find the bodies?
Sorry,
just like the assistant chief said, they searched that area.
I think that the pings are like not that close. Like they don't get like exact.
It's only off by 50 feet. Now, here's the thing. If you did a digital tracking on like any of your devices, you would come to see where all the locations you were at. Your phones are always trackable.
Well,
so
yeah, but like
so tracking is different than pinging.
That's true. I guess that's true. But like back then, I know that Google will kind of like pop you over to like locations that you're most likely at. Like if you've been to a location a bunch of times, it'll pop you over there.
Her GPS and IP is still a satellite. Despite you, even with the towers, you're still satellite.
Oh, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, it's a little fishy that you don't have much evidence itself proving to him, despite his confessions. Like, did anyone ever look at the water temperature and the height of the water at that day? Because I did.
Okay, and?
Impossible itself. It was at a high peak because they opened the floodgates itself from that time. Plus, it was like 34 degrees temperature. How are you going to get across like that with the high peak while it was flooding?
I could do it.
Doesn't it also negate the...
You still get hypothermia.
No,
they died.
It was 5 minutes.
You would have hypothermia at 34 degrees.
Well,
not that quick.
They died right after anyway, so
yeah, like, not that quick. There's studies on hypothermia.
But no, I mean, I understand like why you would question all that stuff, and like I think like
I said, I'm not saying Richard isn't involved. I look at it as he's involved, but I don't buy he's the killer. I believe there was multi.
Real quick, he didn't get there until like almost 6.
Plus, if you guys think about it, why did the DA even mention at the very beginning about a second one? When the defense attorney, hey, we didn't even know about that. Did anyone forget that?
Mountains
he did say everything.
It. Let me ask you something. Have you ever done like white water rafting?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know the temperature of that water, correct?
I've even done polar plunges, and I know how difficult it is. In fact, I even dressed up as that person when I did that. It is very difficult. It's not as easy as you think it is. It might be easy going across from the point where it is, but when you're trying to get up that little steep hill area where Ron Logan's is, that's not as easy as you think it is. You would live. Okay, the girls would have been at waistline. They would have had hypothermia.
Why would they have hypothermia exposed to the water? And like, I take ice baths, and I've never had hypothermia.
Right.
You still get a shock right off the bat. Plus,
yeah, but that's not hypothermia. Okay, the terminology you're using are different. Because hypothermia is an actual thing when your core body temperature goes under a certain point.
I think it's damn near freezing.
But I mean,
no, it's like 94 degrees.
Hypothermia would be present in this situation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
But the helicopter footage the next day that showed the searchers who were in the water, in the area that they could have crossed, it only showed the water that went up, didn't even go up to their knees.
It's their fucking knees. Yeah,
but the thing with those searchers, when they did it, they lowered the water down. You guys do
No. They did not lower the water down.
How much
lower the water down?
Wait. How much you want to make a bet? Which one of you guys ever even looked up the gate of the pressure of that day? Because I guarantee you guys didn't. Okay. Did you guys look at the USGS rates that they had? Did you guys even fact check that?
Let's talk nice to each other, okay?
No, how about I just drop because you guys are...
Okay. Bye. I apologize.
I mean, in a creek like that, there's going to be areas that are more shallow, because if you went up like 50 feet, then it did get deep. But in the area where they could cross, it was fairly shallow. Because there's like a little islandy thingy.
Yeah. Well, sandbar is not the right word, but...
Islandy thingy is the technical term.
I'm taking it, Ivy. I like that. Islandy thingy. I don't know what. I digress.
Did you measure the islandy thingy?
I went out in the snow up here and I got hypothermia.
I can get
nice.
I do think that hypothermia can come on like at higher temperatures than you think, but
absolutely. They don't
they
come
died,
that
like,
quickly though. Even within the time frame in the water, within the time frame of that
It's just-
18 minutes or whatever doesn't.
It's not an unreasonable thought though,
Well,
so
here's the
don't like
thing.
treat people like that. Their thoughts don't matter. Like,
No, it's
just
the
like
term hypothermia. He was talking about being cold and having the shock
No.
feeling.
What is
Man.
what is the term hypercritical? No, I'm just kidding.
Hypercritical, like a
I'm
fluid?
just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
That's when you meet the
Just kidding,
triple point
shit.
in the fluid. Acts
Here's
like a
the
gas
thing.
and a liquid.
Here's the thing, like this creek, people think these people couldn't cross, and they could. And on top of that, I don't think they did, which kind of convolutes everything. But even if they did, they still could have. It's still, well, what the temperature was. Does anybody know what the temperature of the water was?
It was hella cold because it was like snow
Yeah.
melt off, but like
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
they drained it, remember? So it's,
Yeah, they
Mark,
put the
be
dams up
nice.
and they blocked the water. They blew the levees at
They
Katrina.
didn't fucking block the water. God
I
damn
mean,
it.
Did
Oh,
they do
did-
that for the other search though? Didn't they do that for the search for the
Evansdale was a man-made lake.
No.
This is a creek.
no,
I'll give
for
him
It did
credit.
drain
Netflix
Evansdale.
looked it up, so I'm not going to say it didn't happen until I like verify it didn't happen, because you never know. I don't think it makes a difference.
Also,
What-
hello,
hey,
Ivy.
what is that? What is that?
I've never
that
spoken
word
to you
that-
before, but congrats.
What word?
that word that Sterling was talking about?
Which one?
Oh, I'll have to hold on.
Epidemiologist.
Yeah.
Epidemiologist?
Can anybody answer why that changes? That Richard Allen
Epistemology.
said he was there, that he is proven to be there
No,
by
Mark.
his car being on the video.
I think
Doesn't
he was. I
fucking
think
change
his.
the damn thing.
I think his point was that like maybe there's he was saying that he thinks maybe there's another person involved or something.
But
Not that-
what indicates that based on what he was saying?
Well, I think that's what he was trying to explain is
I think
that
he was
like
going down
earlier
the
on-
the doubt route. Oh, it's epistemology.
Yes, thank you so much. I could not remember that word. It was driving me crazy. But
I think I know who it
Open
is.
Richard Allen was to discussing things and talking, that if there was anybody else involved, that he would have absolutely identified them.
I think he would have too, and I also think that the prosecution's case didn't make a case that anybody else was involved. So I don't think that they believe that either at this point. I don't think they're going to go after anybody else for sure.
They did, which surprised me how long they thought somebody else was involved.
I think
Yeah.
it's like I've said before, that they were just trying to make connections just because of how quickly he came up and how deeply they were involved with other people, that they were just trying to connect him to the other people that they were investigating. And I think that they did as thorough of a job as they could to try and make a connection before they ruled it out.
I agree with you, Mark.
How do you think they did a thorough job, or do you think that they went straight for it?
I think they did a thorough job.
And I think also they thought that there was two people because there was two. They thought that there was two weapons because
Yep.
Sarah
hey,
rated,
we got another guest in there.
but then the box cutter explained both how they could be one weapon for both of those cuts, right?
So I have a question for your newest panel member.
Oh, Dr. Walla?
When you were doing active panels with the defendant,
Sorry.
what conclusions did you come in, and when did you write? I'm sorry. I'm just being
Dan,
smart.
I'm going to kick you out because you're not
No,
helpful.
don't kick me out because she knows what I'm talking. It's just a joke, a running joke. Don't pay any attention.
No, actually, I
Who came
haven't
on,
been
Mark?
listening for.
Peggy.
No,
No.
Peggy. Mark, Peggy
Oh, okay.
came up.
Yeah.
I haven't
I'm
been
driving.
listening for 20 minutes, so
Me too.
I'm coming in here blind. All right.
What did you
Go,
say about
hi.
Peggy, Mark?
I said I didn't say anything about
Said
Peggy. I
hi.
said I'm driving.
He said hi.
Came
Oh.
on.
I was like, you're
Hello,
talking
Peggy.
shit about Peggy.
I like
No, I'm
Peggy.
just kidding. Me too.
Hello.
How much you want to bet? love
Yeah,
it
I
when
was
people-
trying to tell you, Fisher, earlier, you don't have to pull up every comment, only relevant things, because half of your comments were backhanded stuff at your panel that you were just kept pulling up, and I was trying to have you not pull them up.
I support backhanded comments and free
It's
speech.
the same 5-10 people in each chat. Who gives
I knew
Well,
you
it-
said that, But I never saw any rude comments. I
Go
skimmed
back
through
there. I was watching all of them. a lot of them don't like the guy in the middle up there.
It's over. Find a new
I mean,
show.
Yeah, it's okay.
No
I was trying to like keep the ones that were like pissy off your thing.
Why? So he doesn't freak out like you did? I think he's more mature than you are.
I don't give a fuck. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Like the fucking grandmas that are watching like 50 states away who are gonna say this.
It's
and
not
that.
that. It's just not everybody
Mark,
you don't.
I haven't been able to speak to you.
If they super chat, you pull them up there
recently. How do you feel about the conviction? What's your opinion?
This is probably the most honest I'll get about it, right?
Right.
I think that he's guilty, 100%, right?
Okay.
I don't think that they did a very good job establishing that, but
Right.
I think that they did enough to be like, hey, you guys know he's guilty too, so, throw us a freaking bone here type thing, right?
Right.
That's kind of the way that I feel about it. Like, I feel like I could have seen it go. I don't think that it would have come back a not guilty verdict. I thought that they had probably done enough to sway one or two people, but I also think that they just fucking gave up. And I don't know why they just fucking gave up, because I think if they would have kept going, I think he probably would have had a real shot at acquittal. But I think to do that, they would have had to have done something to attack the timeline or give him some kind of alibi to combat the information that was presented against him. And with what they were able to present against him was probably enough to eliminate reasonable doubt. Okay, it's not any doubt, it's reasonable doubt. And for you to reasonably believe that it's somebody else, it just doesn't seem like a possibility.
Okay. Well, fuck, there we have it.
I'm not, with how long that they deliberated, I definitely thought that they were going to come back and like, hey, we can't agree. And then, but when I heard that they had reached the verdict, I was pretty confident that it was going to be guilty.
What about you, Ivy Rose? What did you think about all of this?
Very similar to that. I will say I was annoyed with people who would say that they definitely believed he was guilty, and while the trial was going on, they would say, but I can also see how maybe the jury could come back hung. But since we've gotten the conviction, it's turned into he had no chance. It was like everything was the greatest, and it's like now that there's been a conviction, people don't want to admit that it wasn't the strongest case, even if he is guilty, which is why I appreciate what Mark said. But I basically went through the same things, except I think I'm a little less confident in guilt than Mark is, but I still think he's guilty. The timeline is the only thing keeping me there, though.
Yeah, the timeline is a fucked up thing. Peggy, what do you think?
I think he's innocent.
Okay.
So I'll leave it at that.
No, go ahead. Explain.
Well, first of all, I don't think he got a fair trial, which is kind of irrelevant to my first point. But, I went one day, I saw him, and I don't think the state is correct whatsoever. Like, I don't think he solely did it if he did do it. Like, I don't know. I don't trust the state mainly. Like, I feel like they did everything they could to limit, just for him to have a fair trial. And it, to me, it's like where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So.
Bearju?
I think he did it, but I don't know that they proved it. I don't know. I've said it. I think by his own admission, I think he did it. Like it all points to him, but I don't. Like I've said, if I was on a jury, I don't think I would be going guilty on there. I don't think I could. I'd have to throw a wrench if I was a juror and make sure it was hung. They'd have to go at it again. I don't know. I don't think I could say innocent either. Like if it was fucking 11 people and I was the deciding factor, I'd probably have to say guilty just to fucking make sure they did it over again.
Yeah.
I think it was that. I don't know. I don't think we'll hear from any of them, but I think that's probably what it was. It was like an 11 verse 1 type thing.
You think so, Mark?
Yeah, I
I
don't
was
think
about to ask Don't Hate create her own channel, which she is hosting right now, what her opinion was. But apparently we don't have that. So Mark, go ahead.
No, I'm not going to say that they put on. I think that if they would have laid it out in a more linear way, and they would have gone in a different order, and they would have gotten somebody better than Cecil, then who knows? But like, I don't think that they did a great job. But at the same time, like, for you to believe that it's somebody else just isn't reasonable.
Well, I mean, that's not quite. I have to like butt up against you a little bit, because on the one hand you're saying that you don't think that they really proved their case, but then on the other hand you're saying it's not reasonable to think that they didn't prove their case, kind of is what
I think what they did was that they laid out a timeline of events, and they were able to place him in that timeline of events.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a possibility that it could be some other random person who fits every single description that Richard Allen does? Yes.
Why do they have to fit every description though? Couldn't they have come from the other side of the bridge? Couldn't they have come from the other side of the bridge?
Okay, but what we're talking about is the same time, same physical stature, same kind of car, same kind of gun.
Are you saying Bridge Guy wasn't even the killer, Fishy?
I honestly don't know, because I haven't seen that, but I mean, Lawyer Lee seemed pretty comfortable with it, Bridge Guy being the killer, and so like that gives me like a little bit more confidence to say that like that is the case, because I think she's a fair judge of, and she actually saw it, so I can't really I don't really have an opinion on that at this moment, because I don't really know.
What do you think of his answer to the question where they were like, "Hey, is this you?" And he said something like, "If it was taken with the girl's phone, it can't be me."
I mean, is that like how it went exactly like that, or was there like other like context to it? I don't really know. I know that I say like the wrong thing all the time, and so like people could probably take what I say in certain ways, and like it gets me into trouble often, and I don't know.
I think most people would just say no.
I mean, probably, but I don't know. I can't say that just because most people would say no, that him saying it in a different way means that
he's. But you add in everything else, though.
I told you I'm like.
Just well, that's not even the best statement in the interrogation. What was the other one? Even if I wanted to, this doesn't convict him, but even if I wanted to do this, like what? That's a weird statement to make. It doesn't make you guilty, doesn't prove you guilty, but it is a bizarre statement to make. I don't know. Who's all ready to see the information when it becomes publicly available?
I like honestly, like I just don't even want to see or talk about it anymore. I'm like sick of like arguing with people, and I just want like I want it to be him so bad. I'm not sure. I don't feel comfortable saying that it's him, but I just want it to be him. So I'm just gonna say that, I guess.
No. Don't do that. You don't have to do that.
What happened to all the people though that were when the verdict?
What you cut out, or maybe I just cut out. But what did you say, Mark?
No, Mark cut out.
Yeah, he said, "What about all the people that?" When the verdict came out.
If he was going to say all the people that said that they would accept it and move on, like I think I'm in that category.
There we go.
Okay, what'd you say?
There we go. I just, like the people who thought that the verdict was going to come back not guilty were very loudly, whatever the verdict is, we have to accept the verdict. And now it's just like, nope.
No, like I'm saying I think I'm in that category where like I don't feel like comfortable with it, but I said that I would accept it. I think the problem is that like with those people is the evidence that was not allowed in makes you feel like a little bit uncomfortable about the the verdict, you know?
And remember, that's like a big group of people. There's like for like a true crime case, there was probably more in this case than others, and it's always the loudest people who usually are thinking stuff like that. So like generalizing all of them as not accepting it, I don't think is fair either.
Or like not letting people have the conversations to like get that like the only reason I've even come like any closer to accepting it or feeling okay with it is because a lot of people have like let me talk through it and like listen to my thoughts and like with not just like tearing me down, but actually like taking the time to like listen and like help me think through things in a way that's like productive instead of just like making fun of people is not a good way to get them to like see your side.
That's true. It's true.
I
I've
mean,
had a lot of conversations with you guys too.
I could totally change my position. Like, I feel like I'm a reasonable person where I could, if I see, because I wasn't in the jury box. I didn't hear everything. I didn't see everything. I'm, trusting mainly, people reporting on it, right? If there's, when I see the evidence, I could totally be like, yep, and change my mind and be flexible like that. I
What would it
again,
take?
Yeah,
just don't
Peggy, I
trust.
agree.
I just don't trust the investigation. I feel like the car, like, why weren't they looking for that car?
Well, Peggy, you and I have always had this conversation, and we've said it probably here and multiple
Yeah.
other places. One thing the police are good at is finding vehicles. They're fucking very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
They're exceptionally good at it. You
Yeah.
would think that they would just look at those cameras and find that car probably within a day or two, right?
Right.
You would think.
Which
Yeah,
makes
you would
me
think.
think that they didn't have the timeline right in the beginning.
Yeah,
I mean, how many cars could there have been? Let's even just like expand the
fucking
window
20 or
from like
something.
11 to, let's say, 3.
I don't
Right?
think
If
they
we
can
want to
even,
look at the arrival, just the arrival piece to it. Like, how
What's
many
up,
could there
Ivy?
be?
I don't think that the video is good enough to identify the car. I think that's why. I think
Well, we
it's
don't know
good enough.
that.
Well, I think
You
it's
know,
good
we
enough
don't.
to look at Richard Allen's car and say, okay, I see that feature, that feature, that feature. But without Richard Allen, I don't think it's good enough to look at and say, oh, that's a Ford Focus.
Well, I think it was. No, I
It's
mean, I'm not
possible. I'm
disagreeing
not.
with you, Ivy. I'm just saying, like,
See,
I think it
well, I
was
think
good enough.
Ivy's right because I think that when they caught on to him, Holman went and took a picture of the car and they asked him to go back through the video to find a black car that looking like that description around that time, and that's
Yeah,
how
I
they.
just
I think Ivy's onto something with that because it's going to
no.
be kind of a blurry picture, and you see black rims that you can see through,
Well, yeah.
and a hatchback car. It could be a Honda Civic, could be as we said, a Subaru
Well,
or
let's look at
whatever.
the fucking Kohlberger case, right?
The white
It
Elantra.
was a blurry fucking photo. Pictures. Actually, multiple pictures.
I think those are better quality than the ones we had.
Well, I'm
Or
sure.
they had
This is
there.
2017 compared to 2022 or 21, whatever it was. I can't recall right now. But yeah, I'm sure they are. Um, but the one thing that police can do is track down cars. That's one thing police can actually do very well, and they just didn't do it in this case, and I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah.
Hey,
That
Peggy,
and the
do
cell
you
phone. Those are the two things that drive
you
me
want me to bring up
nuts.
the cell phone stuff at all? Oh, Mark is gone. Goodbye.
Oh, adios, Mark.
Y'all talk too much.
No, I don't think so.
We could.
I'm just playing.
It's up to you. I think we could cover that another day.
Okay.
But yeah, just like in general, just speaking general, like the cell phone. And I'm not even talking about like the headphones piece. Like even before that, like there was a tower right there, like right there. And a lot of people say it didn't exist at the time or it wasn't on, but like that cell phone tower has been there
I
for
think
quite some time.
I think actually you can be too close to the cell phone tower that like it that
I don't know.
that it like doesn't pick up or something.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It like doesn't pick up or something.
I've heard that too.
I agree.
That part I
Okay.
don't know.
Oh, I didn't consider that. So maybe that will scratch something
Yeah,
off.
I'd never even heard that.
I just know like with the timing, like the timing analysis with the cast piece, like they could utilize other cell phones in the area to then really locate a phone
Yeah,
based
them
on
not
how
allowing
long
the
it takes.
geo data in, like, that bothers me.
Yeah, that too. So, yeah, those are the things that I think I could sway, or like another thing is the DNA. It's like, what's up with all those hairs and the handkerchief or bandana or whatever you want to call it? I mean, like, why didn't they test that? I know they say, oh, it's old, but could it be possible it was old to begin with and it was used in some manner? That drives me a little bit crazy too. But I'm like, just to add on to what Mark was just saying, like I accept, but I'm not gonna go on like this huge, he's innocent and like try to convince other people. You know what I mean? I'm just looking
Right.
for, just a little bit more information.
And just
I think
understanding, like, we want to feel like good and like understand what the fuck happened, right?
right. Yeah, I just want, because I think a lot of us have invested so much time, like, researching this case, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just left with more questions
Well, and
now.
like we didn't get to see any of it because it wasn't public, so I think it's reasonable to want to see that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. And Jenny, damn it. Wop, 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 wop.
Be nice to Jenny, dude. Jenny's
No. I was gonna say, like, put the Jenny comment back up there.
I love Jenny.
Jenny
Everybody has
8675309. I am not a lawyer, but if there is wrongdoing on her side, I hope he gets another trial. I do not think it will change the outcome, though. He cannot beat the timeline, in my opinion.
I think it's the confessions that really like fuck him, and it, like whether they were coerced or like forced or under bad situations is something that like they just can't. Like most people are like in cases where there's somebody confesses, like they can't get past them.
They're as silly as this sounds, what I'm about to say. You might hear from the jurors and go, it's something like the way he looked at the jury at one point. Like,
oh my gosh, I know.
There's a stark possibility that there's something like that they just.
Yeah,
like,
brother, I know.
People have to realize that you can never. Don't try to rationalize a jury because they're.
Well, they're humans. They're humans.
Psychologist.
See, Lynn, I feel like this is like not helpful when you're just like, he won't get another trial, or like just like I really just encourage people. I just really encourage people to like allow like people from each side to like come to terms with it, like because I know when he like first was convicted, I felt like really like honestly, I felt like in my stomach I wanted to throw up and just like really depressed and stuff, and just like be nice to each other because like we're all in this community and like we may not agree, but like fuck man, people need to just like be nice to each other. I feel like
I agree.
Seeing the people in the comments might not know that, but a
No,
lot of us have
RA
talked to each
may
other
never get another trial, but RA, actually, even if he does get another trial, what the fuck difference does it make? Like,
Judge Gall is the presiding judge if they turn it back right now.
Would it be her again?
Yeah, it would be.
Wow. Oh my god! Like, what is that system?
That's actually typical.
West Memphis 3 scenario. Like, I think.
And oh my goodness, yeah. And I don't think anybody at this point thinks, other than the presiding over the trial itself, thinks that she should hold her head high in any esteem.
A lot of people do. That's what's surprising.
It's because they want to dunk on their opposition, Ivy. That's the truth. I don't care what they say.
I agree, but not on everybody. A lot of people really believe it.
Just her actions, her blatant disregard for public transparency and all that stuff, everyone should be in ire of that.
I am confident that Lynn believes it. I don't know Lynn personally, but we've been in Delphi chats for like damn near a decade at this point, and I am confident that Lynn honestly believes that and is not just trying to dunk on the opposition. And I very much disagree. No offense.
No.
What's Paradox's opinion on the trial, the conviction? Did you say?
Yes, I did actually speak about this
My bad.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
My opinion is he's probably guilty. I don't like how it happened. And there's a lot of, well, here in that state, there's like, I really do believe he's guilty, but I couldn't convict him as a person. I just couldn't. I'll leave it at that.
So there's 3 of us with that opinion.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but I also wasn't there at the fucking trial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a difference.
I simply wasn't there, and.
But I think even without like being there, like we know what stuff got denied into the trial,
And you know,
I think that
the
is like the
did
problem.
ask very good questions. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he did get a decent jury.
The jury was like,
yeah, like probably better than a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's all he did get.
So you kind of like have to lean to like, what did they see? What that wasn't
And we
shown
don't know
to
what
the
they
even. Yeah,
saw,
we don't know. So yeah, like
just that one.
I
Just
just
that one
think you
witness.
got from
Yeah,
that, unless
witness.
something happened that we just don't know about. But
Yeah.
like any tampering or anything like that, which I think that would be
No, I don't think
a
that
reach.
happened at all.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't think that happened. But
what I think is this jury saw what the judge allowed them to see, and this is what I'm been saying for some time, is what you know about this trial is not what that jury saw.
Yeah.
And
Not
it's
even
just
close.
Yeah.
Right. So like you can sit there and say like over the last 4 years or maybe 10 years, or actually it'd be 7, of your information doesn't fucking mean a damn thing, because the judge determines what the jury hears and what they're allowed to have evidence of and stuff like that. And we don't have the evidence. And we didn't even see the photos. And I actually think, what's his name? Tech Death was there. And he was kind of explaining it to us, what he was seeing. But we don't have that information. We don't have that. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. All I gotta say is like, the judge isn't wrong. The jury wasn't wrong. Juries can be wrong sometimes, but I don't think they were in this case. I mean, they did what they did with the information they had provided to them. So
I was trying to. Who's that?
Oh, okay. I was making sure my audio was working. I'm sorry.
yeah, we can still hear you.
I was trying to like think about the video, and I think I'm too biased about the video at this point that I can't really think about it without that in my head. But I was trying to think like if I was just played the video and I didn't really know anything else about the case besides what was presented to me at the trial, would I believe without a shadow of a doubt that Bridge Guy killed them? Because I don't think the prosecution even really said it out loud. I think they just mostly went off the video.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I wouldn't.
I
couldn't.
I think I could, but I'm so biased that I don't know.
No, exactly what I said. Like, I couldn't do it, but I'm not a juror, so.
One should write a book.
Oh, there's been 11 books now written on this case, so.
I mean, a juror. I would buy that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
It really would be.
Did you see Charles's comment?
Mm-hmm. No.
Oh, right here. Hold on.
That's a good question.
I pulled it out.
The answer.
Oh, sorry. I just tried to get off. There we go.
What evidence did Goal remove that pertained to the crime scene, other than possibly the geolocation? That's the question.
Now, my good friend Paradox over here likes to get into the semantics.
I feel like
it may
Peggy-O
not
can
be
answer that.
completely about the evidence that she didn't allow, but like how they could talk about the evidence.
Mark said his
You know what I
phone
mean?
died.
Like, I don't think they were able to really go into, some of the bizarre things,
Good night,
with
Mark.
the sticks.
Take care, Mark.
And other things that, I heard secondhand that I don't know, wasn't there. I just think like just how they could present, the crime scene. But then I also asked myself, like, why did they hire somebody to try to recreate the crime scene, like to counter what was presented? They being the defense. I don't know.
I don't think they did. I agree with Mark about the Odinism stuff, though. Like, I thought there was a real chance that there could be a hung jury, but I think if Odinism was allowed in, that it would definitely be not guilty.
I thought it was the other way.
I don't think. Wait, what did I just say? I said it backwards. It would definitely be guilty.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I've lived in that area my whole life.
Either.
Holy
So
God.
I agree with that. Like, why fight it? That would have been to me like, yeah, bring it in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that would be like, that's just too out there. I don't know. There's not enough evidence. Somebody's going to clip me saying that.
No, it's not you, but the people in that area would act like you're insulting their intelligence just by saying it.
There are a ton of Odinists there, though. I will say that. But
No,
that's not.
I don't think in Allen County. I don't think in Allen County.
Maybe not there.
I don't hate Craig. Can you go back one comment? Jason Voorhees. I might drink too much, but the refusal of Richard Allen being BG is pretty disgusting. And I don't know how to even address that.
I addressed it. I got it.
I mean, if you go at the point that you've never considered and won't consider the fact that he might be that,
Sorry
then
if
yeah.
I'm discussing you.
And also vice versa.
Not if you think he's innocent. Like, I don't think that's gross. But if you refuse to consider the possibility that he might be, then yeah, if you're that close-minded.
What? Old
There
people?
is a ton of old people.
I blame old people for everything.
What the fuck necessary evil?
Yes, let's blame them.
I don't think Odinists were there. I'm just saying that they exist there. That doesn't mean that they're killing children.
Right. No, I get you.
There's like a strange amount in that area.
The Odinists were the first suspects by the state, along with Tobe Lesenby. Actually, that's not necessarily true. The FBI believed that. I don't think the ISP believed that. But Tobe Lesenby was definitely looked into.
I couldn't believe that Tobe said he wasn't involved with the investigation very much. Like, what?
He really wasn't.
Didn't he answer all the questions? Didn't he do a paper thing, like a newspaper thing?
Yeah. Man, there's like at least a dozen Tobe Lesenby interviews online.
Well, it's like Doug Carter too. I doubt he had any real involvement in the investigation himself, but he's a spokesperson.
Doug Carter didn't fucking know shit, right?
Never.
And Tobe was the sheriff, so he's the spokesperson
I'm
too.
still waiting for us to know what they knew.
Yeah, we'll never know.
One day you will know what we know.
That's what I'm saying.
One day they'll know what they know.
Yeah, right.
I'll never know.
Only the killer knows. Only the killer
Thanks.
knows. Nobody else knows.
I just think it's just.
Have you read this book
It's
yet?
not funny.
Disturbing
It's
crime
really not
scene.
funny.
You know
There's
what I
two
mean?
girls
It's
that are
just
dead.
so
Oh, it's okay to laugh, dude.
weird.
We've all
I can see
obsessed
why
over this for
somebody
years.
would think that.
No one has taken
Like,
pleasure in
I
the
don't
deaths
care.
of
Like,
those gals.
I don't think those sticks were used to cover up the bodies. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I
who
just, I
said that?
don't. I don't.
What?
No, I'm just saying in general. That's just how I feel. Like,
I don't either.
obviously not an expert, right? So that's just me looking at it
No,
and,
you're an expert.
making an opinion. So it's just.
You are an expert on the
Strange.
internet, Peggy.
Baldwin and Rosie, which you spelt wrong, will face professional sanctions to enforce the rules or determine counsel's ethic.
They weren't, but I don't think they did a great job on the defense.
They were sloppy, negligent.
They were sloppy toppies.
The handling
They
of
were
the
all
evidence.
sloppy toppies.
Yeah, no.
Whatever came about that
Well,
ethical
I'm
report
interested
from
if
Judge
you think
Gall
that
to
would
them?
be ineffective of counsel then.
People keep
No,
saying
he
this is
waives
gonna
that right.
happen.
He
People keep
waives
saying
that
this is
right.
going to happen, and it's not. It didn't happen at the Supreme Court.
What?
It didn't happen at the sanctions hearing.
No, the judge came out and admonished them and reported them to the ethics board.
Nothing's
Remember?
going to come out of it because I don't think that there was what did they do? I know people don't like them, but when it comes down to it, I haven't seen
don't
anything
not
they've
like
done.
them.
Yeah, actually, Charles has a good point right here. FBI thought it Colt, then Ron Logan. Problem with the alternative theories, none of them eliminate Rick Allen. That's actually a good point.
Mm-hmm. But the pig roast.
But
I guess
none of
that
them
would
tie any of those people
Right.
to the bridge at the time either. Like that's the question I always ask people is like,
I mean, I could
where's
counter
that
that
at?
and say, based on what they did and what they tested, I think a lot of the, evidence wouldn't eliminate a lot of people, if that makes sense. Like,
No,
there are
not the
other
evidence.
people
I'm
there.
saying where can you tie them to the bridge? And yeah, they could have just
Don't
not
know about
investigated.
the cell phone.
You have to tie them. Yeah, you have to have some kind of link, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
DP, I think, as everyone talks about, he's the
The
closest
link was
one.
that he put himself at the bridge, right?
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the link?
Unfortunately, that's it. That's all they got.
Jenny says common sense should tell you the
In his
timeline
car.
is junk. And that's actually true. And it is kind of not the best timeline. Jenny, I have to agree with you.
That's the only thing holding me to guilty.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what you mean that timeline. Him, his own testimony, and his car being there in that footage.
Do
and
we
being
know if
matching
the autopsy had any, if they checked for food contents?
You're still worried about those banana pancakes, dog?
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't she be?
Because it doesn't have any relevancy to the murder.
Except for the time of death.
Yes,
They didn't establish the time of death.
Well, if they were just wrong and never fed them banana pancakes in the first place.
Then that would be changing the story, and then that would be something.
That doesn't implicate them, though.
Data
It does.
to determine the time of death, and that bothers me.
It's not about implicating the Patties. It's about where they killed at the time that they. Because I'm still baffled by the time of death. Are you saying you didn't take a liver temp or anything to determine time of death besides
Apparently not, Ivy. Apparently not.
That's
not at
crazy.
the scene. Not at the scene. No.
Then they put them in a refrigerated truck. How can you take it after that?
Yeah, there you go. That's it. And that's the thing is something you find out that's really scary is how much requirement there is to become a coroner in a town. It's not very much. My town I live in has a medical doctor for the coroner. Not
This
a lot
guy
of
was
towns.
the son of a coroner. He was 20 in his early 20s.
Yep.
Yeah, he was in his early 20s. And he did the same thing with Galen Rose's daughters as well.
But the pancakes, though, I think they may have been in there too long to be found.
I don't know.
I'm not a food content or stomach contents expert, so.
Not me either. Right.
There's all kinds of factors.
I was just wondering. I didn't hear
exercising.
anyone give any feedback on any testimony of that.
No, I've never heard that either.
I'm assuming
Stomach contents.
I was listening for it. Well,
yeah,
for the notes.
Did they bring up?
Like I said, just like relying on Apple Health data, I just
There's so many
It's
questions.
very possible that's the time, and I'm not going to say like.
What about the whole fact that there was Find My iPhone?
I can't say it is either. You know what I mean?
Well, no, because they reset that iPhone, Dan.
No. We found out in trial that they had it. They had it the whole time.
I'm confused about that.
That's not weird. Who else? Did she only have her tablet and her iPad and that connected to it, or was one of the family members? Could they have just clicked a button and found it?
I doubt it.
Or was it so inaccurate at the point? Because sometimes in my house it'll say it's in the driveway, so I don't.
Right.
I don't know.
Jenny says, "Does it show his license plate?" Nope. Prove it's his because the state couldn't. To somebody, I don't know.
I don't know. There's 12 people that said he was guilty, so I don't know what to tell you on that kind of argument. Luckily, it wasn't any of us.
I forgot about this until just now, and there's probably an explanation, but I would like to figure it out. Right. So, you know how people say Richard Allen should have seen a bridge guy if he wasn't him, and then he also should have seen somebody else. People make that argument. And nobody else.
That's a good argument to have, isn't it?
Well, listen to this, though. So, Betsy Blair, she went 3 loops down the thing. She did her first 2 loops down the trail. Then she left. She went to the bathroom. She came back. And during her 3rd loop was when she saw him and Libby and Abby. During the same time she was doing her first 2 loops, that group of girls was also walking, but she said she didn't see anybody. And we know that's not true. Right. So that means that she didn't see somebody she should have saw, which means that she missed somebody or didn't remember. So if that's possible, then why couldn't you extrapolate that? I'm not saying I believe that.
Ivy. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like an eyewitness, and I've said this for like the longest time, an eyewitness is the worst witness.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Ever have.
But then I'm not saying you're doing this, but I hear people say that and then use the eyewitnesses to support their theory. It's like, can't have it both ways either.
Yeah, I agree with that. But my question too is like, why are they relying on what time they think they were there? Like, they all had like cell phones, right? Like, wouldn't that help more? Like, this person was here.
They did.
Like, so like by the like cell phone data pinging off the tower, or are we talking about like pictures?
Yeah, like in the PCA and stuff. Why don't they have like use the? Yeah, I think that's
the Snapchat pictures they took for the girls, and then Betsy Blair had a Fitbit on. It didn't show the location, I don't think, though. It showed her activity going up, so you could tell like when she was walking versus when she was sitting down.
And how about the other witnesses?
Which other witnesses?
The group of girls.
They had the Snapchat. I don't know if they put them on Snapchat, but they took pictures at the bench, at least one bench, I think 2 benches maybe. And they had those timestamps. I think one was
also why are all the cameras wrong in this case? Like there's so many cameras where they're like it's 45 minutes off or whatever. It's annoying.
That's how it always works. It's fucking stupid.
I know. I guess I can like see that. Like I wouldn't reset like my camera thing.
You can get like within like 40, 50 yards. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Of where exactly a phone is. in a time. That's just what I was saying. Like, I just feel like it's kind of weird.
All right. I'm getting off of here. Y'all have a good night, all right?
All right. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, take care, everybody.
Hera, will you please play chess with me? I miss you, dude.
What happened
Well,
to...
I've been trying to get your phone number, and Dan
I'm
doesn't
sorry,
give
that's my
me.
fault.
Dan,
Okay.
give me
didn't
my phone
ask.
number.
You asked for it like 2 weeks ago. I'll do it now.
Okay, thank you. Jesus.
Later, Hera.
Who are you talking to?
You take care, everybody.
Okay. Good night. I feel like I'm missing other people talking.
It's
Dan, can you say something?
Dan. Nope, Dan's gone. Oh,
okay.
He really is gone.
Jason Voorhees is having a conniption.
I know. He is.
Oh, I didn't know you couldn't hear.
Oops, sorry. I forgot you could add yourself.
No,
I
I had
was just trying to add
I
you.
had no idea that you couldn't hear me. I was like, "What?
Yeah,
I'm trying to say these things the whole time."
But yeah.
It's because I'm at work and because I was doing some of the back. Let me phrase that. Some of the behind the scenes stuff.
I hope I wasn't talking over
leave it alone.
You know what I was
now
about
I
to
can't
say.
hear anyone. That's so weird.
That Apple app, if that's what you're using, it sucks sometimes.
Oh my gosh, was I talking over people? I'm sorry. I wasn't doing it on purpose.
Nope, you're good. Love you, Paradox. I didn't know you couldn't hear me. I was chiming in. I thought I just sounded stupid or something, so people weren't listening.
Why I don't understand why just discussion about a topic makes people so okay. I'm gonna stop saying in that because I'm being hypocritical because I get sometimes I have to turn people's live streams off when I watch because I get upset. So maybe I do understand. Never mind.
No, I was gonna say, but that's it. The difference between turning it off and firing up.
Exactly, you turn off. But how you can sit there and fight the same people on the same issue and never actually listen to the other side and understand like people have valid points on both sides, and just because you can't understand it doesn't mean that there's not validity to it. I don't know, just be nice to each other, dude. That's all. I think everybody should just be
don't
nice.
hate, create.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't mean create drama.
Oh yeah.
Create victims everywhere. People that would have.
What makes me upset the most is when people state things as fact that aren't fact, and it's fine to have a discussion and have thoughts and to work through those thoughts. That's how you figure things out. That's literally how you find the truth.
Yeah, totally. By
It's when
challenging
people
the fucking
state it as fact that just pisses me off really bad.
What do you mean by these people, Mark? Mark, who are these people? I'm just kidding.
Don't you get triggered?
I'm just kidding. I drank my whole drink by this time, so you guys are fucked.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Party time. I don't know. It's not even worth stressing out at this point.
No.
I'm sorry to anyone that didn't get the verdict they wanted. I hope you guys are doing well either way.
It's just not a reason to be hateful towards each other. Yeah, we misunderstand time, Jason. We're fucking idiots. That's what's wrong, is we're just idiots and we don't understand shit.
I've tried to advocate for people to not get so emotionally involved and no one did it, so
it's hard
when you've been
doing it for so long.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
I just
when
think
people say
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
No, I was just gonna say, I just think some people have different levels of what they need to determine something, right? And it may be, one person may only need, 3 things, right? I'm just speaking really in general. And some people may need 5 things.
Some people I love dearly scare me with how little it takes to convince them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw the picture. That's enough. I have heard people say that I like a lot.
And there's
It's
some
crazy.
people that there's never enough, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and I get that too. I really do.
I wish Sterling was here because
I know.
based on like what I think
Because
I
he's
know
totally
about his,
friggin' hot.
well,
Sorry.
I was thinking about his. I'm pretty sure I know what he watches, or at least did watch for a little bit. And based on that, like this little conversation that we're having is what he's interested in, at least a little bit, like the epistemology stuff and
Yeah.
about you can't really control what you believe. And so take religion, for example. Some people, they find it very easy to believe in God. And other people, even though they would like to believe in God because it would make their lives easier, don't. And you can ask them, well, what would it take? And they're like, I can't tell you. I just know I haven't been convinced yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what this comes down to, too. You can't really control it.
Yeah, like I wanted to the whole time, like believe it and be like on that side because it just would make my life so much easier. And like I feel like I'm like actually getting to that point where I feel like kind of okay about it. But I don't know if that's just because I fucking literally have been like only talking to people that believe otherwise than me. And like because if I like talk through it, it'll start coming out again, you know. But
I think you're just exhausted, dude. Emotionally, mentally, just talking to you. I'm getting the same way. Like, I don't want to go dunk on people anymore. I did a couple of people I thought that were no names, just people I thought were disingenuous, pick on. But that's it. I did it for a day and I'm done.
I hate like
care.
the bullying. I hate it, like people being like thinking it's okay to just like be mean or like belittle other people because they don't agree with them. Yeah. Or like other people are idiots because they don't like see the same way they see is like that's not.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you guys gonna do after the? I fear for the people that think there's gonna be an appeal, they have to prepare themselves that.
Well, I mean, there is gonna be like at least they're gonna go for an appeal.
No, I mean,
or
okay, not that there isn't going to be an appeal. The people that are
in like gonna get accepted.
have hope that there's gonna be a retrial. I fear that they need to start bracing themselves.
I wouldn't throw it out.
I talked to a couple lawyers about it, and they said basically, you need to come up with exonerating evidence that wasn't available at the time.
I mean, I would just say that like, what is the problem with people thinking that, anyways?
Well, no, it's just setting yourself. And this is the thing the lawyer said was the threshold for this is can a reasonable person come to this conclusion, and that's it.
Oh my god,
a lot of these appeals.
This is very common. Logic. The fucking logic.
No, I just mean if the appellate.
Logic.
Oh, what did he say?
No, I'm just because I made that video.
No, that's a very shitty threshold if you want to get a retrial. That's all my point is. Not that you're wrong for wanting one, but it lets the appellate courts off the hook for just tossing the jury verdict out. They're very hard to overcome.
Yeah, especially like it shouldn't be like this, but especially when it's the murders of like 2 girls
that he like confessed to too, and like
that shouldn't make a difference, but it does.
It definitely does.
I don't know if it shouldn't make a difference.
It's a good thing either.
Like child killers are like the worst, you know. So like, I don't even know if it shouldn't make a difference. Like, fuck people that fucking do that shit to kids. Like, how much of a fucking pussy ass fucking cunt are you? Oops, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Exactly.
No, you didn't violate TOS. You're good.
I feel like there has to be more than just exonerating evidence that can get an appeal because remember when we were
it's
the Supreme Court?
It's the weight of things. And what the lawyer was talking about is it's a lawyer who was completely pro-defense talking about it. And he's like, I hate to tell you guys, it's just not, there's nothing rose to the level that's just going to be overturned.
I guess that was,
I was trying to set it up that way.
I was trying to think of what it was that the Supreme Court was like, if something doesn't happen, this is going to be a do-over. But I think that was having his lawyers off. Yeah.
The only, right, I was trying to think of like,
I just don't know enough about it to really even have a good opinion.
Well, and also Dan saying that you talk to like some lawyers or whatever. There's also like other lawyers that say other stuff. So like that's not really like
you get into Michael Osbrook, it'll tell you that it's already overturned.
We're not talking about Osbrook, okay?
Like,
no, I'm just saying like, and then off the air tell you, yeah, there's no shot.
Like the hairs. What if they tested the hairs?
Well, yeah. I mean, like if we go with that
would be the exact thing I said.
What
that would
hairs?
be the exact. Whatever the DNA is that they didn't have, or whatever, that is the exact. That's evidence that wasn't available at the time of the trial. That could overturn the case.
Lynn, I don't know if they like. You hope they lose their license. I don't know if like you know what like a public defender does, but these guys fucking filed a lot of shit in this case. They definitely like did a pretty good job. As far as did they quit too early, like to get their case?
I don't think she's talking about that. I think she's talking about unethical actions that she thinks they should lose their license over, not that they didn't defend him.
They won't lose their license. None of these people lose their
I'm
license.
still, Lynn, can you specify what you think they did to lose their license? Because that's something that I am not understanding.
This is why I like love you, Ivy, is because you are always just like come in with like a calm like approach.
I feel like I take over.
No, I love it. Take over all you want. Like freaking seriously. It's a good quality to have.
That's been a thing, an argument that's been going on for a while that hasn't popped up lately, but was big a while ago. Remember when they were going to go to the whole sanctions thing and they had this list of stuff that they did, but when you went through it item by item, like kind of like they violated the gag order, but they didn't. The gag order went into place like the day after they had the press conference. That's why they put an order in. And also you can't violate a gag order with court filings. So those don't go there either. And it's stuff like that people like have this list of things, but when you go through them, they're not as big as they sound.
Doesn't that happen all the time?
Yeah.
It's like, do you remember when they were going to take Judge Gall off and half the people were like, yeah, they're going to take her off. And no. Nope.
The bar is so high for that.
Mm-hmm. They're like lords in their court. It's weird. But it's also really hard to get a lawyer kicked off of a case. And it's really, really, really hard to get ineffective assistance of counsel. I heard a lawyer talking about a lawyer was falling asleep over and over again during a hearing and didn't get ineffective assistance of counsel.
This was such a weird thing, just the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. So many rabbit holes. And I'm done going down rabbit holes. So, I mean, it's out of anyone. I mean, like, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. The way I see it, like, there's going to be people, you know.
What's the timeline on appeals?
It's like long. I think it's like a couple years or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's going to take like 1 to 2 years.
And like I just wanted to thank both Ivy and Mark for coming on here and just like having a like nice, calm, respectful conversation about everything. And I think that like it should be an example for other people of how to just like talk about stuff without getting like emotionally charged about it, because I think Ivy's probably more like middle of the road. She likes to play adversarial on each side, and I was probably like calmer than I usually am today, but like it was nice to have like a actual conversation without anyone like attacking or bringing anyone down. And if I in any way made anybody think that I don't like think you guys are all respectful, I do, for sure.
Oh no, I always have a good time, and I enjoy discussing with Mark. I know I used to watch him and Frosty because I would walk my dog at like crack kid hours, and they would be on, and I won't lie, sometimes Frosty would be getting my blood pressure high because I was walking, trying not to yell while I walked in the middle of the night. Yeah. But Mark would turn him around and be like, well, got to try to think about it from like this other angle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's like the only one on that side that ever like allowed other thoughts to come in. Like,
Yes.
I really especially liked it when like him and Fiend got along, even though I understand why they don't. But just like being open to that, especially in the group that he is like was a part of or is a part of. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for that.
I agree.
I agree too.
And I think
to listen to both sides, you know, not just like one. That's what I was trying to do, at least.
I won't get into it too far, but I think his experience with the crime scene photos was one of the best examples of the issues with this community, because he had this story about what happened that made sense and was way more simple than most people claimed. And neither side would believe him because it didn't. Like, I don't want to say neither side. A lot of people on both sides refused to believe him because it didn't support their narrative of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
well, but then on the other hand, like somebody that has like more information than other people, like you do have to be like questioning of that, because you don't know who actually has real information and who doesn't. And so I do understand like why people would like maybe be like a little bit question that still, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like after like Westerman I think his charges might have been dismissed or something, but like the police have now written an affidavit about how that went down, and we're pretty sure that the prosecution didn't orchestrate the whole thing. Like, people acted like there was this huge orchestration by someone to get them out there, but it wasn't. It was just a couple of mistakes and bad judgment. That's all.
Remember our community. We gotta. Sometimes a lot of people like to jump right into the confusion.
Well, I think that's why we have to like I think a lot of times we try to be like, oh, we don't matter, or like our opinion doesn't matter, but I think everybody's opinion does matter, and you have to like hold people to a higher standard than we let people get away with like a lot of bullying, and I don't think that should be like okay.
Yeah. So I just like
Well
your
said.
rational demeanor and not just being you've helped me out through a lot of it.
Me?
Yeah, you're reasonable to talk to.
Oh, I was like,
a lot
me?
of the
That's
people you get in a chat, you see, and you're like, man, it's not space aliens. You could think it's not Richard Allen, but it's everything but, and you just. But
you know what? It's taken me like a long time to become like that.
Well, they're
though.
dead set on every theory is the thing, and it's like, come on.
I think Mark took a lot of that. Like, I can get very argumentative and stuff, so I just appreciate everybody who's been willing to like have conversations with me and like deal with me when like, because sometimes I do get stuck on like a specific thing and I like won't back down, and then like after a little while I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I can see what they meant.
The willingness to see other perspectives is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because it'll get you in trouble in the community too.
I may regret asking you guys this, and then I have to get off of here. What is your opinion on not the confessions, like as in guilty or not guilty, or really anything about the confessions, just the treatment while he was incarcerated pre-trial?
I don't like it. Never have. I don't like the people that say that it's okay and they like it.
I don't honestly, I don't think it's okay even after people are convicted to just lock them in solitary confinement. I think it's like, I think we are like more advanced and should be more civilized. I think it's bad for like the guards that have to deal with them, like not treating people like people. And these people, 80% of them are going to get released onto the streets, and like those are going to be people that are in our community. So it's best for everybody to like figure out something better, but like especially before he's like even had trial, I think it's so egregious. Like, that's my opinion.
I think some people's best arguments are that it could have been a lot worse, and I don't like that either. Like, you know.
Or if they think that he's guilty, that like that's justified, but it isn't. And
I mean, I get the sentiment of wanting to torture somebody you think did that, but that's
but
not
to say
what
it's
we're
for his
talking about.
protection, like that's just like a big problem in our community, is not like it's taking mental health as seriously as we take actual health, when really they are like it's as important or more important than like physical.
I guess where you're from. Are you aware that we're in the Bible Belt up here, and we don't believe in that stuff up here? If you didn't know that, I'm not just being facetious.
No, I know.
Lynn just said he was treated like royalty, and no offense, Lynn, I feel like that is the most outside of reality opinion on that. I shouldn't have asked because I have so many strong beliefs on this. So
royalty as a prisoner in that condition, yes, but compared to a regular pretrial detainee,
no, not even a prisoner.
Compared to someone who's thrown into solitary confinement.
No.
Yeah, so there's already been courts multiple times in Indiana who have deemed a seriously mentally ill person being in solitary for more than 30 days is violating their 8th Amendment right against cruel and unusual punishment. It is not just protective custody. It is not, we can't just call it segregation because it's a better word than solitary and act like it's different.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
A single man cell.
Yeah,
that was said from people in the prison.
That's what people say. It's been legally found to violate rights.
Yeah,
and
he was tortured.
13 months.
Hey, there you go, Jason. He was tortured. He like literally like it, and to say that like you could withstand like that torture, you're crazy.
I hope
like,
so, but I don't know. Well, like that's all you could say is you can't even relate to that.
Yeah, you
like,
literally have like cannot at all, like even a little bit.
And I don't know any people that I've talked to that are pro guilt that have said that. I've heard people say it, but anybody I talked to, we had whole panels where everybody said it was crap.
Oh, I have.
That sucks.
It does.
Really sucks.
I feel really strongly about
but
this
he had an iPad and he could have had a TV. Like
same treatment
social
in jail.
isolation
Obviously,
on somebody who's mentally unwell to begin with.
Obviously, something is different in jail because he's doing much better. Like, so there clearly is something that is different.
Even then, solitary in jail still is bad.
Sub-Zero.
It is, but it's like I think that they don't. It's not as hardcore. Like they actually probably let him interact with other people.
Yeah,
or maybe
I don't think you're wrong there.
Closer.
Oh, that's something that the people of Indiana need to address with their lawmakers, and I doubt they will. I hope they do.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not a Richard Allen problem. It's a systemic problem that's likely countrywide. But that doesn't mean it's okay.
No.
Right. And it tainted oh my god, I can't speak right now. There we go. The confessions. Because do you know what I'm saying? Like there's people that like say that he was tortured or they were involuntary. So if he was being held in a jail and made those confessions, then that would be like a slam dunk to me.
Well, the only thing that sucks for that argument is it seems like everything was legally justified along the way, which ruins your ability to have a lawsuit.
There wasn't. They have their policy based on that court, the court case I was talking about. In their own policy, somebody who has serious mental illness shouldn't be in solitary for more than 30 days without a very good reason. And he was there not because he was suicidal. He was there because he was a safekeeper, and they decided that they weren't going to put him in anywhere else. And then people talk about Gen Pop, but there's not just Gen Pop or solitary. There's other options. There's actual protective custody, like where Keegan Klein was, in a little pod of other protected people.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know the ins and outs and all of that, but
I've read their policy book.
I feel like they did some sketchy crap to justify it somehow. Whether when you go to do a lawsuit, they say, well, he was suicidal, blah blah blah, and then they'll be mealy mouthed about it, and it's just enough to get to where it's not
Well, the thing is, if he is suicidal, that's like the worst place to put him.
Yeah, I'm not justifying it either. Yeah, I mean, logically, it's dumb. I don't know what the right answer is. I would hope that they're overturning the case or not, that they could use this case as a piggyback to fix things like that, so it can't happen in the future.
I hate when people say like he shouldn't have killed people. Listen, the reason he's in prison is because he violated the rights of Abby and Libby, if you want to put it like that. So he goes to prison because that is his punishment. He can no longer be in society because he doesn't know how to act, basically. If we treat people like that, we're just like them. You can't have that in a society that functions well.
Literally, solitary confinement doesn't mean like you're literally like away from everybody, like in a jail all of your own. That's not what it means. That's not what it has ever meant. Like, yeah, you have other people like very close to you. It's actually super fucking loud in solitary a lot of times because they like bang on shit and like they'll just like scream and shit. It's like actually horrific to listen to the sounds of solitary. But like just because you don't understand like what they mean by that, and you have like this vision in your head, doesn't mean that you're correct. And like maybe just like watch a documentary on it. Like there's The Red Onion Prison, that's like a really good one, or The Last Days of Solitary. They're both like really good, and like you're gonna leave feeling really depressed and sad about it. But like if like Ivy said, if we're gonna treat other people like that, then are we any better than that? Like fucking
yeah,
probably not.
I actually think there's documentaries specific to Indiana.
Zero. You're back.
I like this live stream. It's really chill. Hopefully I helped you out with some of the stuff in the background.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you so much. Like it's so windy here. I don't know. Like we're having almost like a hurricane or whatever, but on the West Coast, which like we don't have that shit. So it's called like a bomb cyclone or something.
Oh yeah.
El Nino.
Cyclone. No, El Nino's the elevated temperature in a certain spot in the ocean.
A bomb cyclone sounds pretty cool though, right? Like a good mixed drink or something. But I'm a little bit worried about it.
No, it's just I don't want.
If he was so innocent, why did it take 2 years? Dude, like court proceedings take for fucking ever, dude. Like they take a long time. Like if he was so innocent or like guilty, then why did it take them fucking 7 years to fucking find the dude?
When he said he was there. When he said he was there.
The innocent don't, and I'm not saying he's innocent.
No, I don't want to do it.
Just because you're innocent doesn't mean you're always going to want to see the trial.
Asking about Discord. What about Discord?
Discord's the devil.
It is. It's where all evil begins.
I think I have my Discord linked in my channel thing. Just to get a bunch of weirdos.
Don't go in there and screw around. Yeah, don't go in there and screw around either. The mods
do actually get in there and fuck around and find out.
Find out.
I'm just kidding. I don't do anything to anyone. I probably will not do anything.
What call-in number is this person looking for?
I don't know. I don't have a call-in number, just a link. I dropped it for them.
This case has ruined FAFO or FAFO or however Noe says it for me. It's ruined
FAFO.
it.
FAP.
What is
it's ruined FAP.
I just don't think those guys know what that means, because normally that's when somebody gets leveled for doing something stupid.
I know, but
or like a skateboard accident, like not getting your person, not harassing people on the internet.
Why are we like? I don't know if the chat is behind or if some of their comments.
Ahead.
No, they're right here.
Still like referencing our evidence talk like a while ago, or if they're referencing the prison stuff.
They have their own conversations sometimes.
It's confusing.
Yep, they'll devolve into their own.
No, they will not. We're going to get in on this. I think I'm way nicer when I drink, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know.
Did you have chocolate
Are you
today?
serious? It was a double murder case? I had no idea.
Was it? Wait, I thought it was
apparently.
I thought it
They
was a
know.
homie. So I saw
No.
somebody said it's a homie. Do not abbreviate that to that.
Oh, Dan's like,
yeah.
don't comment, don't highlight
don't call it a. Yeah, yeah. I'm dead serious about that. Some people are. I mean, you're lending fire to their. to their
She's definitely trolling.
I like Miranda. She's like just pretty level-headed.
She's very.
I love Miranda.
We all love Miranda.
I love it when Zero just pops in with like some fucking his like calm voice. He's like, "Brr."
Especially with the little
like,
avatar.
Whoa. What?
It's like, especially with the avatar, it's like such a little calm. What is that? Grim Reaper thing?
Yeah. He's like literally so chill. He'll like be quiet in the background while people are like just going back and forth crazy, and then like pop in and say something calming. I'm like, how do you stay calm all the time? But I'm off my period finally, so I'm like, I think I'm like way more chill. But like anybody that's been around me for the past like 4 or 5 days,
Jesus
I know
Christ.
it was rough this time for everybody.
I was like wanting to fucking mail you some chocolate and then time you out of the Discord until you got it. I'm just kidding.
I know.
She's not mean. She just got emotional, which is okay.
I get emotional. I get happy, sad.
Introspectively. Yeah. Don't hate creates a sweetie. Don't piss her off though.
Because I'll not do anything to you.
That's right.
Yeah,
she'll take it all out on herself.
No.
Where did I go wrong?
I don't really care either. That's why you unblocked me, Charles. Fucking, you're gonna have to block me again, motherfucker. Block and block, block and block.
Oh, what are you guys getting into when you rest on this one? I don't think I can do true crime like this anymore. I can follow cases, but I don't want to have any personal involvement in anything like this ever again.
I kind of
I've
am interested in
damage.
I kind of wanted like people to tell me like crazy, like I think a lot of people like know people that have killed or been killed, and so I would just like to kind of like hear people's stories of like what has happened in their lives or around them, like anyone they went to school with that turned out to be like a killer or whatever, and just like interesting stories like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, call me in the Discord. I got a crazy story for you.
In the Discord.
Which week are you talking about?
No, I meant really going along with what you just said.
Oh. Okay, I think that are you guys ready to get off?
I'm just breathing heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever wants to stay in here can stay in here. I don't really care. I like I think this is like the longest I can talk before I'm like
It's exhausting running one of these shows, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm sad
talk
Mark
on the phone for 8 hours.
I'm sad Mark left, so now I just want to get off.
It's a pleasure being involved.
Yeah.
Hopefully your show went well. You gave me like 3 minutes notice on the running the background stuff, and I was frantically trying to.
Well, no, I just needed to make sure that somebody could like end it because like it's really windy here, and I thought my internet would just turn off or whatever.
Dude, it's so nice sometimes to sit back and have somebody else pull up comments and just talk.
Then I just start pulling up comments that you don't want me to, anyways.
Don't pull them up. You got somebody to do it. I was just trying to keep the ones that got up on there.
Yeah, but I think you were getting like I think you were going against.
I was trying
my audience are cooler than your audience.
I was trying to balance each one, like one pro prosecution, one to. You might have to go 8 comments down to get to the pro prosecution. I was just trying to have some semblance of balance.
Yeah, because of my pro defense baddies in the comments.
Man, you pissed a bunch of your people off just having them on.
I mean,
like 4 or 5 people are like, I'm unsubbing. This is stupid. Like,
I mean, that's fine. If they
nice
can't have a conversation, then I'd like Mark is like he's a very fair-minded person, and so is Ivy. Like, so there's nothing for them to get upset about. I don't think.
I agree. I was.
Except for Jenny. Jenny might have a reason because I outed her for her little Patrick Westfall.
Her phone number? You doxed her phone number?
No, for Patrick Westfall. I give her a hard time about him.
Why?
She just wants a hard time from him.
Oh my, you're not the only one. There's a lot of ladies that like
just going into it more.
Ladies love cool rat tail.
Does he have a rat tail? I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I find it hilarious that I wasn't the only one who was thinking about the Pizzly Bears.
Like I made videos about him and like I had to like put as much like references to like I put bears dancing in them or like like any meme I would put in there I'd make sure they were like black so that
when he said that I was like, are you serious? Oh my gosh.
I know I'm like this guy just is just right saying it out there like fucking it ain't super inappropriate. And then, but it was the worst when he was on Breakmeisters and they were like fucking kissing his ass. I'm like, okay.
Keep doing this. Just don't fall folly to reading all the comments. They will destroy you, even if the people are like.
But actually, when I talked to him, I kind of kissed his ass too. So I guess I understand it. Not like I kissed his ass, but I was like polite and stuff because like you don't want to be like dispolite to somebody you're talking to. So I guess I understand that.
There's a fine line between like kissing ass and enabling and just being polite.
Yeah.
Fishy,
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I also want to say thank you for coming on and helping save Charles' butt earlier.
Oh yeah, sorry I couldn't stay on longer, but
I
was making dinner and doing laundry and like my
just
baby's
having
dad
your
is
avatar
like,
in there
gone.
made me feel better. I never come that unprepared. Like I go and Blake and I are sitting there. I'm like, where's all 5 of these people at? Like, where they at?
Yeah, and Blake's like he's a quiet person, kind of.
I can get him talking.
That was so cool though that you guys like talked and you guys were on there. That made me happy.
Did you talk
Heather? Hi. I don't know if I didn't see you before, but I love Heather Brown. So hi and bye, I guess.
Did you talk about Flora the whole time?
No. Charles got a little. Everybody, if you like Charles or don't like him, he did his basically. I think he said he's done live streams before, but he's pioneering into the game. I pretty much gave him the reins on it and then guided him and tried to get him to do it. It's a lot harder than people think, and he was a little not ready. And well, we'll get him there. That's what he wants to do.
I was pissed off the other day. I can't remember what it was about, but it almost pushed me to make a channel. I've been on the edge of it for like a long time. And then I said I was going to make videos and I had the videos I wanted to make in mind, but I haven't done it. Something that one of you said earlier, we're talking about being kind of like depressed after the verdict. I was telling my mom, I think I told somebody else too. I'm like, instead of like postpartum depression, I feel like I have post-Delphi depression.
Yeah.
It's like so much emotion and then it's just over.
And
then it's like you're just there.
And then everybody was like telling me to like get over it and like move on with my life. And I'm like, I can't, like it's just can't. Like I don't know. Like it takes like a while for it to kind of like sink in and stuff.
You guys aren't honest, I hear. Where'd that go?
Who's not honest?
Charles says you guys aren't honest.
Oh, right here.
This panel is a step away from he's being guilty.
I've put the link in the chat like 3 times, so
you might not want to come on.
Plus, I didn't invite everybody at first because I wanted it to just like you can't have everybody on it. It gets hectic.
I didn't mean to. Whenever I had to refresh because I got like 4 or 5, phone calls out the booty, it would put me back on the show. I'm like, I'll just sit in the background.
I know. I was like, Dan, what are you doing? It's mean.
Yep,
I wasn't trying to be mean.
Yeah,
but
well, apparently when I click the link you gave me to do that, it automatically throws me into the panel. I'm like, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah. But like it's because it's good to have like just a couple people and like be able to have an actual like more focused conversation.
Yeah, DB used to do that with CJ, and I think he does it for Moss now and others. Like toss up comment. I can't do all the crazy stuff on a mobile where you can do the transitions and all that stuff, but it's always nice to have a second hand in there.
Unless we're talking about no, I'm just kidding. I need to get. It's different talking on a live than in Discord, and I have to remember that and watch my mouth.
Yes, that's why I've liked being in there a little more because you have a monetized channel too, so it's even more. I think we said a couple no words today. Oh, good. If you don't, or if you do, turn it off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
it's bad no. And mind your guess.
They were pretty far in, so I think they'll be fine.
Oh, the cuss words? Yeah, no, it should be fine.
It's not the cuss words. It's like the self-delete stuff. And
yeah, Dan likes to say that a lot to people. So.
But that's the reason. Try to practice like I play. Yes. Thanks for your joke. And now I'm gonna go cry.
Except for I really do go cry after you say that, Dan.
People forget that I'm not always a dumbass.
No, you're super smart, but a lot of times you're joking around. You're choking
it's so
around.
Depressing, guys. And that's
you have to joke
prosecution
sometimes.
defense. It's so depressing, this topic and all of true crime. You don't have to make a joke of the crime itself, but if you're not laughing, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna rage out.
But then you get the people on both sides who like the people they don't like. They'll catch them doing something and be like, "Did you see that?" And they were laughing at this time, and that's so appropriate.
Virtue signaling like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like
they were laughing.
I'm virtue. I'm virtuous. Yeah,
I'm like I'm definitely not virtuous. I fuck up all the time. Like when Mark was like asking about like is that like the way you should say it, and I was just thinking like I literally always say stuff that's like totally gets me like I don't intend for it to be taken a certain way, or like I don't even think about it, and then so I'm like I don't know, probably.
Welcome to being a Taurus, dog. I'm gonna blame it on that. If I drank more, I'd blame it on alcohol, but I don't drink enough.
Dude, I drink one drink now. I'm all like, I got drunk and then now I feel tired.
I was on a Discord call the other morning. And Bailey got me some of those Happy Dad Special Great Boys.
That sounds like a blowjob.
Oh my God. I drank 2 of those and I'm like, shit, I am buzzing. Oof.
I'm going to carry you guys with me to make a snack and feed my dog, and then I'm going to get off here.
Okay. Carry you with me in my heart. Ivy, thank you very much for coming on. And sorry, like I changed the time on you like 25 times, but
it's okay. I forgot about the time, and for some reason I had it in my head. It was at 7 and I got on and I was like, nobody's here. And then I went to the messages. I was like, damn it, it was at 10.
Because that's what time Sterling had to do it or whatever.
I think that's what it was. And then I got on at 10 and then I was like, damn it, it was at 11.
All right. And then I changed it to like 11:15. I don't even think I told you about that part.
But it worked perfectly because I kept putting off this thing I needed to get done, and I started really late, so then it gave me an extra hour. So
cool. Good.
It was fine.
Oh yeah, sorry, Fishy. What are you gonna get into next?
I don't know. Nothing.
Nothing. Don't hate. What's don't hate create gonna do? Come on.
I don't know. It's just like whatever I feel moved to. Like I've never been like somebody who like goes all like on a schedule. I just like if I have something that I feel like other people aren't talking about, or just like I need to get out there.
I love your videos. I hate that I know you. because it makes me less want to watch the videos. But I loved your videos before I ever knew you were.
Well, Ruckus outed me, but I think it was like kind of.
I know. I would go to sleep with that shit on, dude.
Fucking stupid Ruckus. I think he was trying to be nice. That was mean. I didn't mean it like that, Ruckus. But like he was like,
care.
oh, I think. But then I kind of almost think he did it on purpose. I don't know.
Probably.
I seriously love how you just pop in and out.
I think maybe he thought people wouldn't like that. I don't know. It made me like you more because you were always hilarious in chat. And then I see your super serious videos. Like, how is that the same person?
Because I had my two sections of my personality, you know?
Mm-hmm. I'm always surprised how often people give you shit in the chat for like how nice of a person you are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Big fish?
Yes. You get like...
Who gives a shit?
Oh, like they'll go after, like, especially like Mark and Tommy's chat. They're like fucking very...
For no reason.
Like hardcore.
I just disagree. Even though none of it merits that.
It's like, it's not just disagreeing. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while because I've been avoiding lots of that. But it was like, it gets so personal as soon as you have a different opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think they made me cry like a couple times. But Tommy made me cry one time, and he apologized. Like he was like nice about it and stuff. And then like, then we actually talked like besides being in chat, and he was like, but he like thought I hated them and stuff because I made a video about them. But Tommy's like the nicest. He's like super nice.
I often found it funny in the days of old on my channel with having people who are on Twitter the most angry, butting heads, and by the end of them actually talking in a long form thing, they're agreeing on things that are not related and they're just having a conversation. It's like so much of this is like behind the keyboard hatred, but then some of it is that people were, I think a friend of mine
like
described it pretty well.
Fiend literally thinks I'm like a terrorist or something now. Like he fucking hates me and I don't understand. Like I've never ever done anything for him to like hate me like that. It makes me sad.
I don't know. I don't know what you did, but you told me that you did something that he deserved to hate you for.
No, I said I deserve to be blocked because I was like going like, because I can over message people like for sure. Like if and so I told him to like block me until I could get control of myself, you know. But then like he never ever unblocked me after that, and he like called me a terrorist and stuff.
Why?
He's just Fiend.
That's pretty far-fetched.
He should have his own sitcom.
I like Fiend, and I always felt like they were treating Fiend really bad over there too.
Yeah.
And then he would get up on panel, and I'd be like, "See, he's not that bad." And then he wouldn't back down with his argument. And I'm like, "Just stop, just stop. You're making their point."
No, but like him and Mark were like for a while they were like buddy bros and stuff, and I thought it was like the coolest shit ever because they were both like definitely opposite sides, but like also like nice to each other and stuff. And then I think I might have ruined that like by being I was like the middle person, and you know how like you can like it's hard to convey like what the other person's saying to like I don't know.
I don't want to go into it here, but there was definitely a delineation thing that destroyed that.
Yeah. But I still like Fiend, but he doesn't like me. So, long story short.
Being friends with like people on both sides, it's amazing what I hear about people that I'm close to, but they're on both sides, and I know that none of it's true. And it's like, where did people come up with this stuff?
I was told by a good friend that a lot of these people, they described it very well. It's like a Facebook group of family and close friends.
There's a reason
they know they know what buttons to push on each other. And I'm not involved. I don't know these people well enough, but they know what buttons to push with each other and what to do, and they've known each other a long time.
It bothers me not being USA Libertarian. It bothers me not being friends with Fiend because he has a good structure for like he's like thinks about stuff in a critical way, like too critical of a way some might say. But I always liked because like am very like scatterbrained and stuff, so I could always like come to him and like be like, what do you think of this, and he'll put it like in a logical order and like a thought about it that's like a good, I don't know. So I just like I appreciate people that have that kind of like structured thinking.
Sober Fiend is the fucking, I love Sober Fiend. That's
plus he's a cool cat.
Yeah.
Smoking kitty.
And he's super like prude, and so like sometimes like when I'm friends with guys I could get like a little bit too like, I don't know, flirty, I guess. And so like
it's funny.
So that always like
you're a fucking prude too. Like,
but like he would always be like he would not like allow that. It'd make him very uncomfortable, so it's perfect. Like we could just like be friends, and it was great.
And mind you, I say that for the record, I've never.
You cut out, but well, and he's gone. And goodbye.
No, you're breaking up, Dan.
We're breaking up, Dan. You're out of here.
Later, Dan.
Later. How are you doing, Zero?
I'm doing well. I had an early night at work tonight, so I'm at home, chilling.
Jeez,
dude, I love it when you and Dan talk. Like I get to fall asleep to it. It's like my favorite.
I'll probably get on the Discord later with Dan if you feel like listening.
Oh yeah, my husky tenor prepubescent male voice and my giggles.
Not when you're arguing though. Like that's the worst.
Oh
when you're
my
arguing.
god, I can't do. I just can't do drunk people. I can't do it.
I'm getting drunk right now.
A lot. Are you?
No, I'm not.
Me and him both.
I'm not. I'm not even crap talking. I'm just saying they might not like that at work. There, Zero.
No, I got off early tonight. I'm at home.
He got off early. He was jacking off at work again.
He's always happy.
I got off early. Now I'm home.
I hope you cleaned up the mess and your poor family doesn't have to clean up your socks.
I left it for the hazmat crew.
We got clean up on door 7.
Basically.
He just left the sock on the door.
Always leave the light on. Oh, I was prefacing before I got muted. I never overstepped the boundary with Fishy personally, but I can make her I can tell talking to her she gets red in the face and some of the shit. I have no shame. I have no shame.
No shame.
Well, that's what we like about you, Dan. You're a degenerate.
I'm really not though.
Hey, you took off your Jew thing.
The what?
Zero took off his star.
No, that's in the Discord.
It's in the bear cord.
Oh, duh. Yeah, I don't have the same thing either.
If anybody has a better
there.
name for that thing, let me know. I just stuck that there, and I don't know what to call it. I thought about calling it the knot just to trigger people. I did call it the poop knot for a day.
Dude, it's so windy outside. I feel like there was a tornado in Oregon. How fucking crazy is that?
Really?
There's never fucking tornadoes here. I mean, there.
Those bomb cyclones you talk about, they are nutty.
You asked for a link a while ago, Charles. I put the link in the chat like a bunch of times.
Oh yeah, she did.
Oh, my fucking throat hurts from talking so much. I feel like.
All right, well, I'm gonna rest my case. I love you guys, Ivy, Mark, Fishy, Zero.
Are you headed to the Discord, Dan?
I will be. I gotta make a phone call.
Cool.
But then I'll be in there. I'll shoot you a message if you're gonna be up.
Zero, I'll go in the Discord because I wanted to talk to you about something anyway.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hop over there.
I appreciate you guys.
Ivy, thank you
regardless of you, if you want me to help you with some of this stuff, I don't have to come on the show.
Apparently, I don't have a choice. You just pop in whenever.
If I pop in, I'll just have a black moniker so that it doesn't show up. I just didn't know it was going to do that. I've never done this from a phone. I normally do it from a laptop. But It was a pleasure. I like seeing you live stream. I like seeing everybody do it. Because then I can go on shows and I don't have to run the whole thing the whole time.
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
If I ever make a channel, I'll have you guys on.
Okay, and I'll probably bug you like a lot of times to come back on because I really respect your whole vibe a lot.
Yeah, we like Ivy. Good night, Ivy.
Yes.
Good night. Just remember, I'm like terrible at messaging, so if I don't like message you back after a while,
lucky for you, I'm super good at bugging people. So.
Well, if you see me in a chat, let me know that I need messages.
She's also on the Discord.
I know.
I just let Zero know if you didn't know that.
I have my notifications off because it dings
That's
for
smart. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. I have only @ mentions on every Discord I'm in except for the big one.
Maybe I should do that. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Get some rest. Love you guys. Peace and love to the chat.
Peace in the Middle East.
All right, later.
Later.
I love when she forgets to hit end stream. We're hosting the stream now, Zero. Let's do it. Trump's America 2024.
Trump 2024.